TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Sevens Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay Murtagh Precast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our coverage here of the Junior 2 final. And now it's the big one, it's the replay. It's back at it again after an absolutely thrilling game here last Sunday between the Downs and St. Lomans Mullingar. It's county final replay, and we're joined by Alan Mangan, by Shane Donoghue, and indeed by Owen Jordan here on the analysis. But and Alan, if it's half the game that we had last week, we're in for a thriller here again. Ideal conditions once more.
Yeah, great conditions. If I said they're delayed, they're not playing tomorrow. It's supposed to be a very poor day tomorrow, but listen, we were treated to an unbelievable game last weekend, epitomised by some fantastic performances from John Heslin, Sam McCartan, and then you put in Charlie Drum and Jonathan Lynham, like all county players that really showed up on the big day, and that's what you need over all your county players.
And Shane, I suppose you're fit and ready to go after your 3K run this morning. Anyone join you in that this morning?
Well, Paul, I never did a Sunday run on a Saturday, so
okay.
No, nothing this morning.
But look, it still has all the hallmarks of a really thrilling game. You know, a lot of us went in last week. Everybody tipped the St. Lomans last week to win handily. It was probably the Downs were probably a little bit more disappointed maybe at the end final whistle.
Oh, you would think so when you're the underdog and you're a point up in injury time with 30 seconds or 40 seconds on the clock, and you don't manage to stop the opposition from getting that shot off. Of course, you're walking out a little dejected that you leave it behind you. But equally, Lomans would be thrilled that they got through it. You know, I was talking to Philip Wolfe coming out the gate, and he said, look, we'll learn a lot. That's the biggest test we've got in a long time. We say, in the last 12 months at least, it's the biggest test they got. So they figured they'll learn a lot from it. I'd expect to see changes in the lineups, Paul. I think there'll be teams will learn a good bit from last week. They'll adapt it. I think Lomans are probably more in the sideline that they can have more options. Is the Downs panel deep enough to do that, or will they come out exactly as they were last week? Yeah, that's what we're going to see.
And I suppose, Owen Jordan, it'll be interesting to see will both teams adopt the same tactics as they did last week. You know, it was a little more open, I suppose, than we thought it was going to be here.
Yeah, you'd imagine they'll probably play a similar style of football than they did both teams last week, and you know, I thought the attacking efficiency on both sides was excellent. I think maybe over the hour it was 4 wides in total, so yeah, I suppose you saw that as Alan said, with the calibre of forwards on display last week. And just looking down at Shane Dempsey there, he seems to be limbered up well, so like he could be a massive addition to St. Lomans if he's
fit. And Alan, you've mentioned that he trained this week. You have the inside track, I suppose, and that one. You're expecting him to start today.
Yeah, well, listen, we had a reunion last night for the 99 under-21 team, and Aidan Canning told me that he trained all week. So whether you're to believe Aidan Canning or not now is another story. But he seems to have got through the week. He looks pretty good. He looks an awful lot fresher today than he did here last week. He wasn't able to even take part last week in the warm-up. So no, listen, on him, even whether he starts or whether he doesn't, I'd say he probably will, but it'll strengthen up Lomans bench for coming off.
Yeah, something I suppose on that we noticed last week. You know, that free flow in St. Lomans forward line, they were stifled an awful lot last week. You know, the Downs put them under serious pressure, and then when the Downs went at them at pace, which very few teams have gone at St. Lomans over the years, that's where they got the results last weekend.
Yeah, I suppose, look, when you've men of the calibre of Charlie Drum there and Joe Moore in the half back line, they were well able to stifle the Lomans attack. And I suppose the Downs kind of system of play was kind of to get bodies back in around that middle third, clog up that middle, and then when they do turn them over to break a pace there, you have the likes of Luke and Niall Mitchell as outlets there, and the full forward line allows them to play that style of football.
Yeah, and Shane, speaking of that, like the tactics at Lomans, they didn't really work last week. You know, Mitchell got the freedom of the park at some stage last week. I'm sure Paddy Dowdle has a plan in place today to make sure that those foibles that missed last week are going to be covered.
Yeah, you could look at it that way. I think Darragh O'Keefe did excellently well on Mitchell last week. He's a big player. He's going to have balls that went in on top. They were high, kind of hopeful balls, and hard on him and turned an offload. That's where the goal came out of it. I'd say Lomans would be that they only created one of those. Years ago, he's had an injury this year, so it didn't influence the game as much. But that's something that's in the Downs pocket now. Can we get a 9 out of 10 out of Mitch today, as opposed to maybe a 7 out of 10 last week, and get Charlie and Lynham, Luke, get them firing like they did last week? They have a real good chance. I just think that Lomans have a chance to mix their game up a little bit more on the back of last week's performance and tweak a few things. And as we say, if Shane Dempsey is going to be a factor, he's a very different inside player than Fola was last week. I think Fola had his work done after 6 minutes. The ball's in the back of the net. He's not really naturally an inside forward, but I think it was more a case to tie up Charlie Drum. I could see if Fola's in there today, Charlie Drum decides, I'm going to run the length of this pitch for a while, because Charlie could be much more effective than standing in on the edge of his own square, maybe marking somebody that's not a lethal target in there. It's tying him up for no reason. So you could see that Charlie would probably bring Dempsey for a run if Dempsey's in on top of him. Test that leg. Little things like that will come into it.
Yeah, and the midfield battle was crucial here last week, and in fairness, the Downs probably won that midfield battle, that midfield sector, that midfield third. And I suppose again that probably be looking at, but also not to punish maybe a little bit of it last weekend.
Yeah, but like if you look at the four lads that I mentioned, Jonathan, Lynham and Chard, they were really influential. So I'd say Lomans did a lot of talking this week about how they're going to stifle when it comes to today. And also on the other side, Sam McCartan was very, very good driving forward. Although he did score, his man Ian Martin scored the first 2 points of the game for the Downs, and he well, but Sam not on top then. But I'm sure the Downs or that Lomans will try and stifle the two of them, and vice versa. The Downs will be trying to stop John McCartan. Have to do that? I don't know what's going. Then they'll be doing a lot of videos this week, looking at what they can do. But I'd say it's going to be hard for Lomans to get the exact same amount of John and Sam as weekend for the Downs, so they'll come out the two lads as they class again. So you're going to have to run potential through the years for Lomans, and they'll be looking to get an awful lot more out of him today.
Yeah, just had to get them different starters. So Lomans number 5 Ender Gaffney doesn't start. He went number 17 Calvin Robin Regan at 9 doesn't start. He's replaced. Who last week would you think?
I suppose it's bodies right, and like you say, analysis, and it's hard to see one or two because the last year, and I suppose that's credit to Kieran Nolan and Joe Moore, who super football. I don't know what he has to offer. I'd say he probably has something in the back of his mind now that he probably has a big force in him, and as the boys in the ready they're stepped up, and I'm not saying the left, but for to be leading and challenged, as they were last week, but still at the same time with 30 seconds to go, the game nearly over. them not to panic and to score at the end.
And Owen, talking about that momentum. You know, we said that about the Downs as well. Came through a quarter-final, came through a semi-final, and we're building the whole time, and built even more.
No, this Downs team hasn't feared this St. Lomans team over the last few years, Paul. We all know that they lost a number of lads last year after their county final win, and they dropped down the grade, but they haven't dropped in quality very quickly. No, you show respect, but you don't fear, and I think that's what some other teams have done against St. Lomans over the years, is try to protect against their perceived strength. Yeah. Instead of matching up and toe-to-toe and trust the men that you have. Look, the Downs is riddled with county calibre footballers and indeed hurlers, so these lads know what they're at from a competitive perspective, and their big physical side. That's maybe something Lomans had on other sides as well, their physicality, but the Downs match up very, very well against them. I think the few changes that you're after mentioning is it gives Lomans what they've had over the last couple of years, a big impact off the bench for the last 20 minutes of the game. Athletic, strong men, plus that, you know, this 6-day turnaround, it's tough on all the bodies. I'd say some lads the week.
Yeah, and that was heavy going here last week. Like, there was some serious hits in it. And I'm not saying anything over the top or nothing, but it was physical. It was extremely physical.
Yeah, and that takes it out of you, and it takes a few days to get right after it. And there'll be some lads where the week is after dragging terrible because, you know, they just can't wait to get out and get this going. And then there'll be other lads where the week went way too quick because they're carrying a bit of a knock. Like, we'll see how Shane Dempsey is. I don't think Dara Egerton, the way he went off last week, will be at the feature. And you have to remember, he was their first sub last week off the bench. Absolutely. And carrying an injury at the time as well. So they're not as deep on the bench, and that possibly could be what will swing it today in favour of Lomans, perhaps.
Okay, we're going to just interrupt for the moment now. We're going to go to the managers interviewed, where you were interviewed just before the game here, Johnny Murray and Paddy Dowdle. So we'll hand over to the two interviews there.
Okay, sorry, with Johnny Murray, the Downs manager. Johnny, I suppose the first thing, how has the week been since last Sunday? Let everyone recovered, how has it gone?
It hasn't been a great week. We got the bad news, of course, that Dara ACL is done, and lads heads are down big time because he's such a vital part of this squad. Serious team player and a gentleman as well. So look, he'll be egging us on today, and hopefully we can get over the line for him and the injured players. Mark Kelly's injured as well, and Liam Moore and Renee ACL injury. But look, the week's gone pretty alright apart from that, but there's no training, it's recovery.
Yeah, we had a cracker last week, Johnny. As I said to Paddy Dowdle earlier on, you won't mind if it ends up today 4 points to 3 as long as you were out on the right side of it.
Correct, yeah. No, it was, two teams wanted to play open football, and look, we got the benefit of that last week and been allowed to play it. And top-class refereeing, I have to say. Top-class refereeing.
Well, look, Johnny, I know it's getting close to throwing time. I'll let you go back and join your team. That's Johnny Murray, the Downs manager. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, lads. Okay, take care, lads.
Joining here on the pitch before the game, St. Lomans manager, Paddy Dowdle. Paddy, how's the week been?
Yeah, look, as I said earlier on the week, it was more so about resetting, you know, and getting the bodies back right and get the mind back focused. You know, it's been a really good week for us. Everybody's fit and ready to go.
Yeah, and look, we had a cracker here last week. Both sides really set out to play football. I know for our viewers and for the spectators, we're hoping for the same. You won't mind if it ends up 4 points to 3 in your favour, I'm sure. But still, we're looking forward to another cracker today.
Yeah, hopefully it is a good game. Look, I think both teams would want the same, but look, whoever comes out on top, I'm sure it's going to take a good team to beat them, you know.
Paddy, whoever ends up on top here will be worthy county champions. Yeah. The best of luck to you and your team.
Thanks very much
for this game.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's the word from the camps, from St. Lomans and from the Downs. And Shane, we're getting close to our finale here before we hand over to Ray and in the press box above and in the commentary box. I'm going to ask you for your predictions. Now, just remember that you got it absolutely wrong last week.
I did. I think only one person got it right. Tom Brown got that wrong. We didn't invite him back. Look, I'm going to predict another tight affair for a long, long part of the game. It'll swing on a goal, where that goal comes from. If the Downs can get that connection between Mitch and Luke coming off him, or indeed anyone else coming off him, that could be the difference. I just think that the freshness of Lomans, they weren't really tested a whole lot coming through the championship. They were winding up slowly, and probably a little bit of a wake-up call last week. I see Shane Dempsey moving pretty well out there, and I think that could be what will swing it. So I'm going to tip Lomans by maybe 2 points in a very tight affair.
Owen? Yeah, look, I think the Downs will take huge confidence from last week and really putting it up to Lomans, and they'll probably come in here with a renewed belief in themselves, and they'll be, I think, like Shane says, it will be a really tight game, but I think St. Lomans really missed Shane Dempsey last week as an outlet inside. His movement, and he's always shown in front, and his ability to win the ball, and I think that, he probably, as we said, he looks fresh in the warm-up there. I think having him as an outlet will be a massive boost to St. Lomans, so I think I'll stick with my prediction for tentatively. I'll go for Lomans by a point.
Alan?
Well, listen, I predicted the draw last week, Paul.
Yeah.
But listen,
the only problem is we didn't get up to Boyle Sports and put on a few bob in it. That was the thing.
But anyway, listen, I really hope that it's as good a game as it was last week.
Yeah,
if we get all the top players performing well, it's going to be extremely close. Obviously, we need 2 big games from Mitch and Luke, and if we get
Johnny Lynham, I think, as well.
But I'm saying that Johnny Lynham probably can't do as good as he did last week. He was outstanding, and if they get that out of them again, and Charlie and Luke and Mitch, I'm going to think that I'm going to say that as Jordy here says that they would have got a lot of confidence out last weekend, so I'm going to tip the Downs to win by 1 or 2 points.
Well, so there we have a very split decision here. So, but that's the way it goes, and that's how tight this county final is. We're looking forward to it immensely here. We'll be back with you at half time for more analysis. But for the moment, it's up to Ray in the commentary box, who's going to bring you the county final replay for 2024. Stay with us here on Airview TV.
Yeah, welcome everybody to TEG Cusack Park, wherever you are watching us in the world, whether it's in Westmeath or America, Australia, Canada, wherever you are, you're welcome to TEG Cusack Park for this the replay of the Shay Murtagh Senior Football Final for 2024. I'm joined in co-com, as I was last week, by James Dolan. James, you're very welcome back here again today, and I suppose the first thing to say is a little bit of confusion last week, but I think common sense broke out. We're back here now for replay. Give these two teams another full chance to have a go at this one.
Yeah, absolutely, and a great day for it as well, Ray. I know there's a storm rolling in, and we were worried about the conditions today, but an absolute fantastic game of football. We're ready for here today. The sun is shining. There's a small bit of a wind, but I suppose going back to last week, so we'll see which team learns a bit more from the other, and we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, and like last year's game, it was unbelievable the fact that we had only 4 wides in the hour, and a little bit more, probably nearly 70 minutes of football. I think 3 for the Downs, 1 for St. Lomans. Like as somebody said to me, the conversion rate was off the charts in that game. It's unlikely it's going to happen again, but we'll hope for it.
Yeah, the shooting was unbelievable in fairness the last day, and like we were talking about it last week, all the big boys stood up, Luke Loughlin got a good few scores, John Heston got a good few scores as well, so the big boys are standing up last week, and hopefully the same thing will happen today.
Yeah, and just looking at the two teams which we will give out to our viewers in a couple of minutes, there is a couple of changes I think on the St. Lomans, and I suppose the most important one that we looked at is the fact that Shane Dempsey is fit to start here today. Wasn't able to come on last week, but he's able to start today. That's a huge boost for St. Lomans.
Yeah, and we were speaking about it last week. He came out of the tunnel last week, he was doing his few runs, but he didn't look happy at all. I'm watching him here now at the moment. They're doing their attack and their defend down there on the Dunstore side, and he's moving an awful lot more freely. He still has a bit of a strap on his left hamstring there, but that extra 6 days would have done him the world of good. He was obviously pushing it to try and make it for the first final. That extra 6 days would have been golden for him, and we'll see if he can impact that game. But he was a massive loss for St. Lomans, and obviously a great boost to have him back for this game.
Yeah, and look at both of these sides. I think it's fair to say, James, no one really came out of last week's game with any advantages I would have seen anyway. A lot of players played well, some players both sides maybe didn't produce what we would have thought, so you know, I think as replays go, I think, and we hope that it's as tight and as exciting as last week's one.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I played in a couple of replays as well, and like sometimes, you know, when you play well in the original final or the original game, you're thinking, can I replicate that again? Can I produce the goods again for the next day? If it was the other way and you didn't have such a good game, okay, well now I have another chance, you know, to show my worth and, you know, have a better game than I would. So, you know, all those kind of thoughts would have been going through the Lomans players' heads, the Downs players' heads. I work with both Darrell Keefe and with Oisin Murphy in school in there, you know, and their first couple of days was all about, can we get the body right? That's all they were worried about. Can I get the body right? The mind will follow. But, you know, both really, really looking forward to this replay.
You must have been a referee in there for part of the week, I would imagine.
Yeah.
No one giving away any secrets or anything like that.
A whole pile of nothing spoken out this week.
Absolutely. Looking for our viewers at home, we will go through now and give you the two lineouts. And starting with the St. Lomans lineout first of all. And then lineout as far as the goalkeepers, number 1, Jason Daly. The full back line, David Whelan is at 2, Darragh Keefe the full back wears 3, and Oisin Hogan at 4. In the half-back line, number 5, Andy Gaffney doesn't start, and he's replaced by number 17, Kelvin Riley. The centre half-back, Owen Hogan, he wears 6, and Sam McCartan at 7. Middle of the field, Jack Egan wears 8, and number 9, Kevin Regan doesn't start, and he's replaced by number 21, Fola Irindi. In the half-forward line, Rory Sheehan is at 10, Ronan O'Toole is the centre half-forward at 11, and Sean Flanagan completes the half-forward line, we're number 12. And the inside line, 13, Danny McCartan. Full forward and the team captain is John Heslin, and then completing the Lomans line up to number 15, Shane Dempsey. And the Downs, they line out as follows. In goals, number 1, Trevor Martin. Full back line, Peter Murray wears 2, Charlie Drum, the full back is at 3, and Ian Burke at 4. In the half back line, Joseph Moore at 5, Kieran Nolan, the centre half back at 6, and Oisin Murphy at 7. Middle of the field, number 8, Jonathan Lynham, and number 9, Conor Coughlin. The half-hour line, Ian Martin's at 10, Andrew Kilmartin, the centre half-hour at 11, and Kevin O'Sullivan at 12. And the inside line, Luke Laughlin at 13, Niall Mitchell at 14, and Philip Martin completes the Downs line-up wearing number 15. A referee for today's game is Barry Pearson, St Mary's Rochford Bridge Club. Change of referee, James, which is normally Barry's been top quality referee. We've seen him throughout the year, you know, and again another appointment well warranted.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I think it was warranted to say Andy Kelly did a great job last week. I felt, you know, it's obviously a good sign when you come out of a game and no one's talking about the referee, you know, and that was the case last week. You know, both teams went at it, and the referee was, I suppose, a sideshow. You know what I mean? Barry Pearson, another top quality referee in Westmeath, he should have no problem with this game.
Yeah, nice crowd gathered here in the sun. Who's looking over at the terrace. It is nice and just a nice temperature, but it's absolutely perfect for football. We've seen in the Junior 2 final beforehand, James, conditions, you know, a couple of slipping and sliding. The top of the ground is probably a little bit slippy, but we hope it doesn't lead to any mistake that's going to cost either of these teams a game.
Yeah, no, in fairness, like, I walked across the pitch there just before the game. You know, the sun is a little bit wet, a little bit slippy on top, but I mean that's to be expected in the rain that we had yesterday. But there's a bit of a breeze, you know, blowing down into the apartment's end. Yeah. So whoever has the breeze in the first half, they'll have that little bit of an advantage. But again, we're in perfect conditions for a game of football here.
Yeah, just one little thing from last weekend's game, just talking to the managers beforehand, talking to Paddy Loudon and to John Murray, the Downs manager, is the fact that, you know, he's probably known better as a hurler to our viewers in a Star Egerton, and he suffered a cruciate ligament injury in the game last Sunday. So we wish him well as he looks, I suppose it's hard to say look forward to having an operation, but he's one of those people that will recover and he'll recuperate him. We wish him the very best and hope to see him back on the pitch, but it's a serious injury. It's a hard one to get over.
Yeah, look, it's that horror injury. Do you know what I mean? The ACL. Nobody wants to do it, and I really felt sorry for him. He's really a leader there in the Downs. You know, they'll be looking at him for inspiration. So, you know, maybe it might give the Downs players a bit of a boost coming into this game. But you know, we wish they're all the rest.
Yeah, and we're going to stand out for our Ron Naveen.
James, the formalities are pretty much out of the way here now. We see both sets of subs going making their way back up into the stand. And that Hour on the Veen, sang by Lauren Finan from Castle Daly. Beautiful rendition. But I'm sorry, Jim, just, everything is ready to go again. It's time to get down to business for these lads.
Yeah, and I'm just looking across the pitch to see if there's, we spoke about all the matchups last weekend, and how the Downs were happy with some matchups, the Lomans were happy with other matchups, but I want to see if there's any changes. I'm looking in there. Luke Loughlin looks to be picked up by David Whelan straight away. There's a switch straight away.
Yeah, he was picked up by Jack Gagan, I think, last week.
Yeah, so
Niall Mitchell, Johnny Lynham in the middle of the field, Sean Flanagan and John Hesson. John Hesson spent most of the game last week around the middle of the field, because scored 6 excellent points as well. So the Lomans will be hoping for that again. The Downs hoping for Mitchell maybe to have a bigger impact today.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are all the questions are going to be answered now over the next hour.
Yep. Ball is thrown in. Johnny Lynham goes high, pulls the ball down as Mitchell wrestled with John Hesson in the first possession of the game. It's for the Downs, and they have it here now with their centre half back, Kieran Nolan. Kieran Solis across the field. 2 players over on that far side if he wants to use them. Instead, he comes back in here to Conor Coughlin. Again, we look around. Shane Dempsey and his marker. The only 2 down at that far end of the field, and Kieran Nolan just drifts back in to sit in front of them as the Downs hold that possession. They come across to this side of the field where Joseph Moore lays it off quickly as far as Conor Coughlin. Coughlin has his jersey pulled there by John Hesson, lays it off to Andrew Kilmartin, and the referee, I think, comes back. He's going to give the free, tells John Hesson exactly what it is, as John didn't know what he did there, but it is going to be free. Look, Loughlin, the breeze on his back off the ground. You fancy this one? He's going to kick it out of his hand.
Takes it quick.
Yeah, he answered that very quick as Conor Coughlin drifted off him. Coughlin gets the possession, gives it back to Luke. Now Luke is on the 20-metre line, being stood up by John Hesson. He has support inside there with Conor Coughlin. Niall Mitchell is there as well. It's 3 against 3. Coughlin now has to be strong, and the ball goes out of his hand, knocked out of his hands, but too many steps there anyway, said the referee Barry Pearce, and the free out is for Lomans. And we see Ron O'Toole is on the possession back in his own 20-metre line. Danny McCartan, he's the corner forward, remember, he's back in there as well. As St. Lomans come out across their own 45, as Ron O'Toole has possession for his side. He has John Heston here, spare on this side of the field if he wants to use him. Just holds off and just lays the ball off again now as they come across towards this side of the field, carrying it forward here now. It's the corner back there, Oisin Hogan. Oisin gives it off now to Sam McCartan. Sam looks up as Lomans cross into the Downs half of the field, slips out of a tackle, pops the ball back here now as far as his full back, Dara Keefe, and Dara with the pass over to the far side where Jack Gagan moves it down the line now, and the chance for O'Toole. He's been hassled and harried there, but he does well to slip away from his man, but Ian Martin is still there making life as awkward as he can for him, and the ball eventually comes back inside now where Kelvin Riley has a chance, and he pops a nice ball in front. First chance for Shane Dempsey, pops it off to Kelvin Riley. Kelvin is onto his right foot, it's not his strong one, and the corner back is Oisin Hogan. He doesn't fancy it, and then the shot does come in, and we have the opening wide of the game after almost 2.5 minutes. First and I think it was Shane Dempsey with that pot shot there, but
yeah, he looks to be moving all right there. He got the ball twice in that little bit of play. He took the shot on his right foot. Looked to be moving all right, but that again gives Lomans just another option. They've Fola and they've Shane Dempsey now inside in the full forward line. Just another option for them.
Yes. Downs have the possession here now. Kieran Nolan comes outside and gives it off here now to Johnny Lynham. Johnny, remember that fabulous track back on St. Lomans man in the closing stages of the game last Sunday and turned the possession over and saved an almost certain score for his side and allows him to have this chance here today. Anna Burke reaches high but doesn't get the ball, but Johnny Lynham is around behind him and just sweeps it up here now, and Kieran Nolan then first touch of the ball for Andrew Kilmartin. Andrew carries it forward. Jinxon shrugs off a tackle there from Danny McCartan, holds the possession, pops inside. Kevin Sullivan, his first touch of the ball, and Johnny Lynham looks up and sees that Anna Burke is in space over on that far side of the pitch. A chance now to come forward. In fact, that's Oisin Murphy lays it back here now to Charlie Drum. Charlie just holds that possession back here now, and Luke coming deep right out into the middle of the field as he tries to get away from David Whelan. Whelan stands him up, and then Luke with the right and left foot fires it in. Can he find Mitchell in there? It's cut off at the moment. Ball breaks down. Kelvin Riley was on the break. The foul committed there by Philip Martin, and it's going to be a free out for St. Lomans that they've already taken here now out as far as Owen Hogan.
Yeah, Kevin Riley playing a sweeper there in front of Niall Mitchell. You know, he used to, over the last couple of years he's done that job to great effect, and you see the one high ball there, quick ball in, Kevin Riley's in underneath it and takes it up. But again, you know, the down switching up their play, they're trying to run it a bit, that's not working. Let's bang one into Niall Mitchell, see what happens.
Yeah, just didn't have the distance on to get to him that time, but Riley is back here now just outside the D. He's a hugely experienced player, he introduced as a sub last week, and he's a great man to be able to put in from the start. A man that's synonymous with St. Lomans, and of course for a number of years as a Clonkill hurler as well, so has medals in both codes. His run O'Toole takes this ball, O'Toole trying to get away from Joseph Moore, and first chance for John Hessel to get on the block, and then John tackle there. I think he's a little bit bemused at what happened there, but credit to the Downs, they got numbers in around there, they had the possession, one back, and Barry Pearce signals that it is going to be a free out, and Kieran Nolan, he comes forward with it, pops it over to the far side where there's a chance now for the Downs to make a little bit of ground down there. Extra man over there, but eventually move it back inside to Johnny Lynham, and Johnny back now as far as Peter Murray. Peter back inside his own 45, has Kieran Nolan just looping around, takes the pass off him, and Charlie Drum was drifted over here on this side, spent a lot of time in the second half down that other side of the pitch, but he's involved in the play here now, takes it back from Joseph Moore, and Charlie heads across into the centre across the 65, looks up and sees that he has a man over there just down on the right hand side. We see Luke Luke is on the ground here, but we'll watch the play here. I think Dave himself and David Whelan coming together. Andrew Kilmartin has this possession here, and he uses Joseph Moore here close to the sideline. Joseph steps in, and let's see if the referee just keeps an eye on what's going on off the ball as Luke comes in, takes the possession here now from Kieran Nolan. Luke drinking and just holding the ball. He has a man over on the far side. He has two men over on the far side if he wants to use them. He does give it to Enoch Burke. Enoch, he's a left corner back, comes forward, pops it inside. Lucas back on possession again. A little bit more cat and mouse than we had probably last week, James, in the open stages here.
Yeah, a lot more patient, let's say, put it that way. Lomans have everybody back at this point. They've got 15 men behind the ball. The Downs are holding the ball outside that little bit of a press that they have. They've an opportunity here now to go forward, but they did a bit of this last week, and they picked the holes when they got their chance, in fairness.
Yeah, and Andrew Kilmartin does well to shovel a ball inside and then touched on the ground by Niall Mitchell, and maybe a little bit harsh because I think Mitchell might have thought he was pushed there. Self and Darragh O'Keefe getting acquainted in there, but there's so many matchups here and so much tension here last week as well. But they have the possession again, have Lomans from that free, and they're gone down the far side where Ronan O'Toole and John Hessel. Many times have we said that throughout the years, combining with each other now. Tug of the arm there on the Lomans player there, and they get the free now, and there's a chance here for Danny McCartan to get a shot in, and McCartan with his rifle fires in. Trevor Martin has to be careful, it breaks kindly, and it's in the net. Oh, Fowler was in there under it. The goalkeeper Trevor Martin got a fist to it. It broke kindly for Dempsey, and he thought it knocked only the top corner, and with the outside of the right foot he fires in. Goal after 7 minutes, probably the score that this game needed.
Yeah, exactly, sparks it into life there, but they always say that's the most dangerous ball in, is the drop shot, the ball dropping in on top of the goalkeeper. Fowler makes some uses of himself there. Trevor Martin gets a good hand to it, in fairness to him. The ball comes straight out to Shane Dempsey, and he pings it in top of the top corner. How long has he been doing that, Shane? His whole career. So he's already warranted his starting position there already, Ray.
Exactly. As Downs have the possession from the kick out again, it's slow and ponderous. They're still only as far as their own 45, and they have the possession here now. Peter Murray has it. Peter pops it on here now as far as Philip Martin. Philip gives it back to Enoch Burke, and the left corner back goes over to as far as his full back over on that left side. Ronan O'Toole is trying to stand him up, trying to make his mind up for him. So Charlie just holds the ball and comes back inside, gives it on now to Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin steps by John Heston if he wasn't there, and then pops a nice ball on to Joey Moore. And Joey, with the advantage being played as Andrew Kilmartin takes the possession, and he gives it off here now, and there's a chance here of a score for Philip Martin, and Philip with the shot. Again, good refereeing there by Barry Pearce. He was playing the advantage. Philip Martin, I think he was nearly the only forward that didn't score for the Downs last week, so he's off the mark early doors here.
Yeah, and a good score there as well. Andrew Kilmartin stepped around John Heston there, and the gap just opened, and he went for it. We got the ball out there to Philip Martin, who sticks it over the bar, but a good response from the goal. You always have to get a response straight after a goal like that, and they did well, in fairness.
Yeah, and Lomans have worked the kick out short, and Jack Yegan is striding down over the far side, pops it into Sean Flanagan, and then coming on the loop here is Danny McCartan. McCartan, again, referee's been consistent. Too many steps he deems on Danny McCartan there as he was setting himself for the strike on goal. I think it had gone to the right and wide anyway, but It is a free for the Downs, back in deep in their own half, and Kieran Nolan carried it out. Shane Dempsey again trying to just force him and make him go to the far side. He does exactly that and gives it on now to Charlie Drum, and Charlie has time with a couple of players making the run. One of them is Kevin O'Sullivan, but Sam McCartan reads that one like a book, steps in, wins possession back, pops it to Sean Flanagan, and eventually makes his way here as far as Ron O'Toole, pulling the strings early doors here as he has his cornerback Oisin Hogan in a bit of space here. Hogan holds it, pops it back as far as O'Toole, and Kelvin Riley steps in, but Ronan says there's another man over there on the far side. It's Jack Gagan. Jack carries it forward, has Fola on that right hand side. If he does use him, and he does use him exactly, Fola slips as he comes inside, does well to keep the possession, pops it off to Danny McCartan. Danny going the wrong way, but he holds that possession, pops it back here to Kelvin Riley, and Kelvin back there now as far as David Whelan. He fires it over there to Sam McCartan, just looking really now to one back and one forward as this ball is fired in, but that one is not going to be on target. That one has gone to the right and wide.
Bit hasty there from Sam McCartan. You can see what he was doing. All the big men were inside in the full forward, and he was trying to drop one in and maybe have a half shot at it as well himself. But a little bit more patience there. The Downs have got everyone back. A little bit more patience, they might have unlocked the key there. But still a little bit of cat and mouse going on, right?
Very much so. Kick out has worked out short. Charlie Drum takes it from Peter Murray, and Murray pops it on now over the head here. Now it goes, and there's a chance for Conor Coughlin with Joseph Moore making the run. Philip Martin's on the advantage as well. This time they decide to go route one in front of Mitchell. Mitchell surely being fouled. Right, referee sees nothing wrong with it, and he allows the play to go on there. It looked like to me he was tugged back. Darragh O'Keefe and Mitchell there, but referee see nothing wrong. There's an injury down here, worryingly here for Conor Coughlin, but we'll watch the play here now as Lomans have the possession with Ronan O'Toole.
He was unlucky there, Niall Mitchell. There was definitely pulling out of each other. There seemed to be something going on, but maybe the ref thinks the two of them were at it, so he'll just let it on. But there was definitely a bit of a pull there from Darragh O'Keefe, I think.
Yeah. The ball now is coming forward with David Whelan. He pops it inside. Here's a chance for Sean Flanagan to have a look at the players, and Sean doesn't need a second invite, and he fires that one over the bar. He's opening the score as well. We're number 12 there. I think now worryingly for the Downs, there's an injured player down there, and I think looks a little bit down. I think it's Conor Coughlin, I think is the man. And I don't know, is it a hamstring? James wasn't sure. He was certainly holding the top of his leg anyways. He was trying to make his way back from that.
Yeah, he was the one to kick the ball in there tonight, Mitchell, that last play, and he just pulled up just after the kick. He didn't look comfortable at all as he was trying to get back into position. So it looks like they're making a change here anyway. Yeah,
it's Oisin Loughlin, where number 18 is the man that's coming in.
That's a bit of a blow now for the Downs affair, just 12 minutes into the game.
Yeah, Coughlin is an experienced man. Oisin Loughlin not as experienced, been picked up there straight away by John Hesson, so it's not a match-up that the Downs probably will be mad about. In fairness to Oisin Loughlin, he's played a lot of their games throughout the group, and he'll settle into it, I'm quite sure as well. Chance now for him to get into the game. Edinburgh has this kick out and has the ball, and Charlie Drum has it now over on the far side. Fola tries to force him across to the far side, and they hold that possession to the Downs. And again, as we said earlier, pitch a little bit greasy on top, but slipping at the moment. But Joseph Moore has it. Joe steps away from a tackle from Sean Flanagan as well to pop it on here now as far as Johnny Lyon. And Johnny is about to be shut down, but then gives it to Luke, and Luke dispossessed there, a little bit careless now, and a chance for St. Lomans to counter attack, and Ronan O'Toole has it there, shimmies and gets away from Luke Loughlin now, and doesn't use the spare man over on the far side, gives it indoor to Sam McCartan coming forward. Sam, little ball popped in, he's looking for his brother inside. That's Danny has it, he's gone around his man, tries to dummy it there, but super play there from Kieran Nolan. Danny probably should have pulled the trigger there.
Yeah, absolutely. But Ronan O'Toole already having a big influence in proceedings, right? He's on the ball there all the time. He's dropping a little bit deeper than last week, and he's being a bit of a playmaker out there. He's pulling all the strings out around the middle.
Yeah, but the Downs are on the move again here now. There's a chance for Ian Martin to give it on here now to the man that just introduced Oisin Loughlin. And Loughlin fouled there as he stepped inside. The tackle there from Jack Gagan. A nice play there. And again, same as where Ronan O'Toole has been on the ball. Niall Mitchell that time coming out the field, getting the ball, playing a nice ball across, and has led to this opening and a chance now for Luke Loughlin.
Yeah, and we've seen that from Niall Mitchell over the whole championship. You know, if it's not happening from inside, he's happy to come outside and link the play. It happened last week. A couple of long balls went in, didn't come, nothing came of it. But then, who was the man to pass the ball off to Luke Loughlin after that? Was Niall Mitchell. So the Downs mixed up their play the whole time, and they got a nice free there. You know, when they run at St. Lomans, they're causing them problems. So if they can do a little bit more than that, they might get some more scores.
Yeah, 1-1 to a point is Luke. This ball in his hand, he was on the 20-metre line. It's the Suda left foot kicker. Just drops the ball onto the foot, swings the foot through it, and pops it over the middle of the crossbar. And you know, I think always for the Downs and the supporters, if Luke gets an early score, it kind of sets them up for the game. It took 14.5 minutes or so, but he's up and running.
Yeah, I remember you saying that last week. I think he ended the game at 1-5 or 1-6. So hopefully for the Downs, that's what he does again.
Yeah, and he's on the ball again here now. Foul. He's certainly, all I can say for Barry Pearce is he's certainly very consistent. Didn't look like it was an overcarry to me, but he's the man he's implementing the rules, and he does penalise Luke for that one, and the ball has moved quickly up to the far end of the field where Danny McCartan has said. Danny's been involved quite a bit now. 1 to 2 points as he's forced out, goes to ground. Now let's see, he holds the possession. Good work there as Lomans hold that possession, give it back to Kelvin Riley. Kelvin into Jack Gagan. Sean Flanagan is tight to the line on this side, so he pops it inside where Dempsey comes out in front of his man. Clips a nice ball now to Sam McCartan. Sam is trying to put one through, half blocked down, but he's on it again. Sam being tackled hard, does well, and certainly a beautiful ball inside here now. There's a chance for St. Lomans, but again, no score, no kicker on it as such, and they have to work it back to Danny McCartan. Danny on to Sam here now, and it's gone back inside again where Jack Gagan has it. Jack, he's not going to take the shot on, he's going to loop around and come back out, trying to create a bit of an angle. Has to give it back as far as Kelvin Riley on the down 65-metre line. Riley slips, almost gives away the possession. Johnny Lynham forced him just to give the pass off, and then Shane Dempsey has it. Dempsey on now to run O'Toole. Couple of players trying to make runs and nothing on there, so he just holds the ball and gives it back now to Jack Gagan. Jack with the full back, Dara O'Keefe coming forward here now. Dara pops it to Sam McCartan, continues his run. Sam can use him if he needs it. Comes in central instead, gives it on now to Ron O'Toole. 1-1 to 2 points. 16 minutes on the clock as O'Toole has this ball. Good tracking there by Joe Moore, and he forces him back and forces Lomans to go back halfway between 45 and 65 to Kelvin Riley, who on to Jack Gagan. Quick ball in as far as Fola calls the mark. Wasn't too sure whether that was from inside or outside the 45, but Fola thought it was inside, it was outside. He calls the mark. Let's see, can he get the score from this one?
Yeah, Lomans as well there, in fairness. They held the ball, they tried a couple of times to get it over and back. It wasn't working, and then Jack Gagan gets a little pass into Fola for the mark, and he sticks it over the bar. So clever play there.
Yeah, first one for Fola. Kick out has worked out short again. The Downs have it here with Andrew Kilmartin. Andrew, in a very tight space, manages to get it back inside there, and Kevin Sullivan moves it on here now to Joseph Moore and gives it on to Oisin Loughlin. Loughlin with Johnny Lynham coming forward. Ball bounces at his feet, but Johnny does well to give it inside. But it's great tracking back there by Jack Gagan. Jack goes to ground, but strength there from the number 8. Gets the possession and gives it on now to John Hesson. Hesson with a long fisted pass out to the 65 where Ron O'Toole turns and gives it first time now to Dempsey. Dempsey looks around, slips as he fires it in there. Now let's see if he does any harm to his hamstring there, because he slipped and foot just went out from under him there as he was taking that kick, but Kieran Nolan intercepts it anyway. Nolan has it gone out as far as Mitchell. Mitchell out a long way from the post as he comes across the Lomans 65-metre line, gives it on to Philip Martin. He got one of the scores and eventually work out a little bit of space over there on the far side where Éanna Burke comes forward, thought about taking the shot. Instead he pops it on to Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan with the shot, and that one has just gone to the right and wide. It was patient play again there by the Downs that time. Kevin Sullivan had the chance, just couldn't get it on target.
Yeah, no unlucky in fairness. You know, they were over this side, they switched the ball quickly. Kevin Sullivan 1-on-1, you know, have a shot. Just unlucky with the strike, just tails wide him.
Kelvin Riley has worked this kick out short and taken it, moved it quickly into space where Ron O'Toole is out on it. O'Toole trying to take on Joseph Moore and trying to come back inside. Moore holds him up. Referee Right, well, we can say one thing, he's been consistent. Again, it looked like the foul was the other way, but if Barry is going to referee it that way, that's his prerogative and that's the way he sees it. Free for the Downs have taken it. Kevin Sullivan has it. A bit like last time, the Downs getting themselves back into the game a little bit more here now as Charlie Drum steps into the tackle. Good strength there from the full back, and they're working now through Johnny Lyon to Oisin Loughlin. Oisin comes inside, and again, correct decision. Too many steps. Oisin caught between two minds there as he was stepping in, and free that Sean Flanagan has already taken over to Sam McCartan over on the far side.
Yeah, we found out Barry Pearce while he's picking on steps. That's his thing. Refs always have one thing that they focus in on. Steps obviously is for him. I think we've seen about 5 or 6 frees given against for steps. So players now have to be careful with their soloing and their hopping.
Yeah, Oisin Hogan is charging down that far side, and then he stops, pops it back as far as Danny McCartan, who gives it back to Kelvin Riley. Riley, as he does with the left-footed solo, pops it then inside to Danny McCartan. Danny treads a nice one through inside there. Can they get it open there? Because there was Oisin Hogan as the man inside there, and Lomans just hold that possession, just working it out, making sure to get the right man on it before the shot is taken. Kelvin Riley looks up and he spreads the ball across to this side of the field. Picked up very well by John Heston. He calls the mark. Again, the ball kicked in from outside the 45. John knew exactly what he was doing, calls the mark, and a chance here now for a point for Heston, even though it's from a very difficult angle.
Yeah, and that's a feature of St. Lomans play that's different from the original final last week. They're holding the ball out here. The Downs got everyone back behind the ball there, but now instead of running the ball left and right, Lomans are looking for that mark inside. They already got one with Fola. John Heston went into the full forward line there. Kelvin Riley picks him out. So that's a feature of the game. They're obviously after seeing that from last week. Can they find the mark inside when the Downs get everyone back? And they found it twice already.
Yeah, second nice, difficult shot for John Heston, but the quality that man has, we know well. He's well capable of doing it. He did it again. Tips that one over the bar. 1-3 to 2 points now. 20 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock as the Downs have the possession back here with Oisin Loughlin. Oisin fisting off now to Kieran Nolan. Kieran looks around him, thought about stepping into the line, but then gives it back to Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin then, with a little bit of space here, invites his cornerback Peter Murray to come onto the ball. Murray carries it forward, has Ian Martin here in support. He goes into the centre, fits it into Kevin Sullivan and pops it on out to Luke Loughlin. Luke has Johnny Lynham coming forward over on that left hand side, draws the man there and pops it over to the far side where Oisin Murphy has it. Murphy gives it back to Luke again. Luke has David Whelan facing them down. Luke trying to entice him to come in, and Luke will drop the shoulder and be gone by him in a flash, but Whelan does his job well, gives it back to Johnny Lynham and back now to Kieran Nolan as they go from left into the centre. There's options to come right if they want to. Joey Moore comes in and takes it, gives it back to Nolan again. Nolan, he's carrying it forward, then just pops it on now to Andrew Kilmartin. Andrew thinks about the shot, fires it in, backs himself, fires it in, but unfortunately that one is not on target. Again, no problem with the distance, James, but just not on target.
No, unlucky. And in fairness, Andrew Kilmartin's actually having a good game there. He's getting on an awful lot of ball. He's making incisive cuts through that forward line. He had a pop at a shot there. They do have the wind. We mentioned that before the game. Look, it just tailed off wide, but the shooting not as good as last week, Ray, but I don't think it was ever going to be fair.
Yeah, Darragh Keefe has the ball back inside his own 20-metre line and looks around him, and David Whelan says, I'll give you a handout, and he takes the ball from him. And you got to remember that full back line gets on that possession there. In fact, it's the centre back there, Owen Hogan. Oisin, of course, his brother, wearing the number 4 there in the full back line. Lomans, nice quick hands there, and they have the possession now and break it out here with Danny McCartan. Danny gets away from Niall Mitchell, gives it on to Oisin now, and Oisin comes into the tackle. Good play there by Joe Moore, and Joe strong hand in, and Niall Mitchell is there in support, and the Downs turn it over. Now can they come forward with enough pace as Kevin Sullivan looks up to find Luke inside the corner. Can he keep it in play? He's done the first part. He has it. Not too many options for him because he needs a bit of support. They eventually do get around him. Philip Martin is the man. And Oisin Loughlin has gone in here, loads of space. Can they get it over to him? They're trying to do it. Niall Mitchell has it. Mitchell with no one coming to him. He has a look with the outside of the right foot. James, they all they're great when they go over the bar. They look spectacular and stuff like that, but when they go drifting the wrong side of the post, it's a narrow margin. I know that. It just kind of deflates things because there was an opportunity there to get the ball inside.
Yeah, it's unlucky, and you know what? It's an absolute killer as well. When you have the ball, when you have the wind like that, and you're getting those shots, and they're just not going over the bar, it absolutely saps the energy out. It's the total opposite if you get them to go straight over the bar. It actually gives you a bit of energy, but you know that's 2 in a row there now where they just tailed off to the wide. But again, they turned the ball over the middle of the field. They got the ball into Luglaughlan, but absolutely no support. You know, they need to get the lads up the field quicker.
Yeah, from the kick out that went long, Foley got a hand on it, but he went to ground, and then the referee said he picked it off the ground. He thought he was being fouled, but the free is going to be further down, and a little bit of ill-discipline. The ball dragged forward here now, but Luke then gives up that advantage and turns around, gives it back to Oisin Murphy. Oisin has Oisin Loughlin here on the loop around, but instead he gives it to Kevin Sullivan, and Kevin Sullivan has a pop, and Kevin Sullivan with a lovely point just narrows the gap again, keeps that scoreboard ticking over. James, the breeze is a factor, but I don't think it really matters the way teams play now. They'll carry it into the breeze just as much as they will against it.
Yeah, well, that was better than Kevin O'Sullivan just brought it just that 5 yards closer, 10 yards closer, and then he gets a lovely little pop over the bar. But you know, much better play from the downs there. They spread it really quick, but then they attack that pace. Kevin O'Sullivan on the end of the moving to stick it over the bar, but they're staying in touch with Lomans, which is great.
Yeah, 1-3-3, 24.5 on the clock. His ball is from the kick out, worked out, and then worked back as far as Jason Daly, and now they have it back over there close to their end line, and Jason with a nice little dummy there, and things opens up in front of him, and then a nice composure there from the county number 1 as he sees David Whelan in loads of space, and Whelan has gone into the other half of the field in a second. He's still going, no one coming towards him. He's gone across the 45, pops it over here now. Jack Yegan. Jack is going to fancy this one. Looking at umpires, looking up, and it was a long time hanging in the air, and he gets it over the bar. I thought the way the goalkeeper was going for the ball quickly, that it had gone wide, but it obviously was brought in by the breeze or whatever there. Lovely score there, 1-4, 3 points. Jack Gagan, don't know was he as confident himself with that as it turned out, but it's a good score for the number 8.
Yeah, but a great score as well, and in fairness, like Lomans identified, the downs went man on man there with everyone, but Jason Daly stepped one player. Once he stepped that player, it opened up for David Whelan, and he had the whole pitch to go up to him. So the downs changed up their game as well.
Lucas going forward with it. Ronald O'Toole is trying to get another big hit on him as the ball was fisted across. Now, I thought there was a late hit on Luke Loughlin there as he fisted the ball away, but it was a lovely ball hung with just a little bit too much height on it there for Niall Mitchell on the back post, but Lomans had to deal with it, going out for a 45.
Yeah, and that's where Luke is deadly dangerous. You know, coming down that end line, that pace, he stood the ball up at the back post just a little bit too high. I think Darrell Keefe might have got a flicking as well. It's gone out for a 45, so just took it off Niall Mitchell's fingertips. But you know, much better play from the downs, and all they need is that one chance to stick it in the back of the net, as we found out from last week.
Yeah, Luke is out now to take the 45. He has Oisin Loughlin making dummy runs down the right hand side here, but Luke only has eyes on the ball. It looks like he fancies this, and he has the breeze on his back, so it's well within his range. 26, almost 26 and a half on the clock as Luke comes forward, clips it in with the left foot, and more than clips it, he drills it in with the left foot. That's a lovely score, great kick there. You know, no bother with distance there from Luke off the ground, probably had another 15 yards in that one. But a nice score, like you said, just keeps him within touch to come away with something from that last attack.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep in touch. We always just say that, you know, when we're playing with the county, can we just be in touch at half time? You know, 2, 3, 4 points, just be in touch. Just that you're close enough that if you do get a goal, then you're back in the game straight away.
Yeah, and Downs have worked the kick out very well. It's the first opportunity for Rory Sheehan to get on the ball. He's been quiet and carried that one into traffic there, and he gets turned over and goes to ground. Referee and said he had committed a foul there. Sheehan has been quiet so far, was listed last week at number 10, didn't start, but he's starting in from the outset here today. The Downs do win the possession back and have it now here with Ian Martin. Ian gives it back inside where Ian Burke has it. Burke inside now to Joe Moore. Joseph carries it forward as well, and over from right to left they go now, and then they come back in central where Johnny Lynham has it. Johnny looking to see what's available for him, then just goes short as far as Ian Burke. See Sam McCartan tracking Johnny Lynham everywhere he went, and now Andrew Kilmartin gives it inside. Luke takes it, good strength from Luke, took it in front of David Whelan. Whelan couldn't reach in again, and then Luke is going to take him on. Is he going to take the shot on as well? He'll do his best to get back on his left foot. He does exactly that, and we're right behind it. I know I said it last week and I said it again, but when Luke gets his first score, if it comes early, it sets him up. He's had 2 great scores since that.
Yeah, and that's a great little subplot, to this game as well. I mean, last week, Luke ran right, in fairness to him. Lomans identified that. They switched David Whelan on him today. That's a right battle. I'm watching them off the ball. They're pulling and dragging, they're baiting each other, but they're getting on with football as well. They're making their runs. But Luke Loughlin now has 1 from free, 1 from 45, and 1 from play. So he's just flying into this game.
Jason Daly is down there, he has a cap on, the sun in his eyes. There's a lot of players bunching around the middle of the field, lads trying to stop runs, but Jason, the last time he's pinged it straight in as far as Jack Yegan, and Jack looks like he's the target again this time, because he gets it all alone, gives it inside to Sam McCartan, continues to run on the loop around, and then with the right foot tries to tread it in as far as Sean Flanagan out in front of his man, slips. Johnny Lynham slips as well, so the two of them go to the ground, but Fowler, he's there in support, brings it back to Sam again. Sam back now as far as the centre half back is Owen Hogan. Owen Soros on the down 65, gets a call from John Heston. Heston takes it and goes across to the other side, where there's a chance here now for Oisin Hogan to come forward. Oisin has support over there on the far side from Kelvin Riley. Riley with the fist, down the line it goes. Lomans have it and then are forced to come back to John Heston. He's just outside the down 65, he gets it under control. Jack Yegan is here drifting off if he wants to need him. John just ambles forward with it towards the downs 45. Jack makes the run, John doesn't use him, then he just pops it back here as far as Kelvin Riley, and Kelvin with the inside of the left foot opens the play over to the far side where Rory Sheehan is involved again. Goes down the line, takes a return pass and has the possession back in there again. They give it back, work it back again. Nice patient play by St. Lomans and Downs, going man for man, forcing them to come back as Darragh O'Keefe takes this possession and gives it on now to Jack Gagan, but Jack just stops, turns, goes back in where Kelvin Riley is dictating things there from the centre half back position. He comes forward, looks up, fires a rocket of a ball, hops off Fowler's chest, comes back kindly for Sean Flanagan, and Sean a little bit over exuberant with the tackling there. Was that Kevin Sullivan on the tackle there, but it was a rocket of a shot there, hopped off for the chest there, and luckily for St. Lomans, they got the possession again, and Downs committing the foul now, and a chance for Lomans again to go back 3 points in the lead.
Yeah, but again, that feature again, the ball came back to Kevin Riley. I think he was looking for a mark there, but he absolutely drilled it at full in fairness. And when the ball coming in like that with a defender up your tail end, it's a hard one to get her. It bounced off Fowler's chest as far as the ball came in nearly. But Lomans lucky to get it free there and then. And John Heston standing over it.
Yeah, this free between 20 and 45. Probably be close to the 20 by the time John comes forward with it. Right footed kick, not to suit the right footed kicker, but Norway doesn't bother John, and he draws it in around this time. It is over the bar. Lovely kick again from John. Second one, the first one from a mark, the second one from a free. And with that, the referee has blown the half-time whistle. Minute of additional time. We hadn't heard the call of what additional time was, but that half has flown by, James, 1-5 to 5 points.
Yeah, very similar to last week in fairness. I think it was 1-6 to 1-5 last week or something like that. So very, very similar to last night. The Lomans got their goal chance and they stuck it. The Downs got their goal chance and they just missed it, alright? So that's the difference between the teams in this half. But again, an awful lot of cat and mouse. Both teams playing with an awful lot of men behind the ball. They're being very patient now around the middle, and they're trying to find the gaps in around the D, I suppose. But again, another intriguing half football played.
Difference between these two, the goal from Shane Dempsey, a great finish into the top corner. It ball fisted across the Fola, did enough damage in there to stop to break the ball down for Dempsey, and he just spun and stuck it into the roof of the net. Difference between the sides at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of having Fola there. As we said, that shot come cross, or whatever you want to call it, drops in on top of Trevor Martin's head. He gets a good assist to it in fairness to him. The ball comes straight back out to Shane Dempsey. He rattles it into the top corner. But that's the difference between the two teams. As I said, the Downs had a chance there. Luke Loughlin ran down the end line. He flicked it to the back post where he's looking for Niall Mitchell. He just didn't get his hand to it. That's the difference between the teams at half time.
Yeah, one score between them, but it is a big one. We're going on 5 to St. Lomans, 5 points for the Downs. We're going to take a break here on the commentary. We'll break for ads. The lads will be back down pitch side for some analysis in that first half, and don't worry, you'll be back in good time for the second half. But for now, for myself and James, we're going to an ad break.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Seventh Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams will make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay Murtagh Precast.
Yeah, it's half-time here in the replay of the Shay Murtagh Senior Football Championship final between St. Lomans and Mullingar. St. Lomans leading 1-5. And Alan, in truth, they're good value for that 3-point lead and possibly should be more ahead.
Yeah, in fairness, they are. The big thing that I see out throughout the half there is that the spread of scores, Lomans have had 6 scores and the Downs have only had 3, which is a good it's a good return from Lomans, especially playing against the wind. Any bit of a breeze that they had, Lomans played against it there now. So it's good. It's a cagey affair. It's tight. Fortuitous goal now, to be fair. I think Danny McCartan went for a point, he dropped short, and in fairness, a great finish from Shane Dempsey. And to be fair to Shane Dempsey, any ball has come in, he kicked one away, and that's fine. But at the same time, he's won anything he's come in. First ball he came into him, he laid it off. He ended up getting a point out. But the second ball that he got was he buried it into the top corner. So you have to say that Dempsey is the difference between the two sides at the moment.
Yeah, I know, and that goal is the difference. Like 3 points of a difference. It probably was a bit of a giveaway. The Downs will be kicking themselves, but what to be even more worried about, I'd say, is Conor Coughlin gone off now with an injury 12 minutes into the game, which is a huge a boost for Lomans, but definitely a killer blow for the Downs.
Yeah, he's a big player for them. He just kind of covers a lot of ground, particularly defensively off the ball. He gets through a lot of the work there, and it just shows the killer instinct of Shane Dempsey there, that there's a lot of guys nowadays who just take the hand pass over the bar, work their way into the game, particularly given that he'd missed the game last week. But again, Dempsey's just has that killer instinct as a forward. He buried the ball in the top corner, and that probably has given them a little bit of comfort there in that game.
He still had a lot to do. It wasn't an easy chance. There was 4 Downs men on the line. He still managed to get it into the back of the net.
He managed to find its way through a couple of bodies on the line, alright. And again, he went for the goal when it was there, and he went for the jugular, and they could be the things that could be the win and losing of a county final on a day like today.
And Shane, the difference between the two sides today, what do you think is the difference from last week anyway?
Look, there still isn't a huge difference, Paul. We stood here last week 1-6 to 1-5. That's two extra scores last week at half time, but the quality of the game last week and the pace of it was very different. We spoke about who learned the most. Lomans certainly have changed quite a bit. Their structure, obviously Shane makes a difference inside, but the structure of their team looks better that way. And I think one of the big wins for them, where the Downs were very much on top of Jay Daly's kick out last week, and we spoke about the half time being turned over as a short kick out. They're getting the kick out away brilliantly now, and they're finding it on both wings, and there's some of the runners coming from very deep, and that's peeling off. So I think they're the little things that Lomans have worked on, and they've worked well for them. And the 3 points is probably a fair reflection of where the half is, but the Downs really were slowly growing into this. It took them quite a while to get a bit of a pace, and they'll know there's 30 minutes left. They're still in the game, but it's nowhere near the pace or the accuracy that we saw last week.
No, it's the Downs are facing into 30 more minutes, but just that goal of a difference. But they're facing into a fairly stiff breeze. We can feel it here in our backs as we're here, But it might suit them. They're a running type of team. They didn't do a whole lot of that in the first half. half. They may have to do it in the second half.
Yeah, and going back to last week, they had a massive third quarter, at the start of the second half to get them back into the game. And, they have kicked 3 wides there in that first half, which is, they only had 1 last week. So they're creating the opportunities. And I think defensively they've been excellent. Joe Moran, again, doing a fantastic job. And Nolan Toole, he's everywhere. He's all over him. So, and in fairness to Barry Pearce, has been very consistent on things like overcarrying, and he pulled Rowan once or twice for that as well. So if he could escape the shackles of Joe Moran, he could do damage. But defensively, the Downs have been doing very well to keep themselves in the game, and if they could be a little bit more efficient in their attacks. They were very unlucky with a goal chance for Niall Mitchell there. Luke done really well, ball across the square, and you've seen Niall Mitchell finish them before, so if that goes in, it's all to play for. So you'd imagine there'll be a couple of opportunities and high balls in around Niall Mitchell again in the second half.
And Alan, if you were in the Downs dressing room down, trailing by 3 at half time, what would be your words of wisdom with your team going back out again? All to play for, I suppose, still, even though you're 3 points down?
Well, they'll probably look back to 2 years ago, or 2022, when they won the championship. They were 2 or 3 points down at half time, and they had to go out into a gale force wind, and it was spilling rain here, if you remember. And they came back and they overturned that. Now, listen, vice versa, Lomans will be in there saying that we were ahead 2 years ago when we played against the wind, and we ended up losing the game. So it's all to play for. The Downs will definitely have something up their bonnet. They're not going to let it go as it is, and they won't lie down too easily. You have to say the kickouts, Jason Daly got off 2 or 3 off to the edge of the D, but then his next 3 went over the top. So Jason Daly's kickouts have been absolutely superb today.
Alan, are you going to change your prediction here from half time?
No, I'll just stick with the Downs. Sure, everyone else is going to go for Lomans. Someone has to go for the Downs.
Oh, and you tipped the Downs at the start. What do you think?
I didn't. I went for Lomans.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
An influence on the game. So I think one man who's been outstanding is Jack Gagan there around that middle of the field. He's got a lot of possessions there, and I think if Dermot McCabe is in the crowd today, he's one guy I'd pick out there that has had a huge influence on the game so far. And maybe the Downs have been a little bit over-reliant on Luke there. He's kicked 3 points out of 5, and you need
very few of that forward line have Sean as well. He's been on a lot of ball, but very few of the other Downs forwards have got on an awful lot.
And that's where probably that could make the difference. If the likes of Kevin O'Sullivan and Andrew Kamara come into the game, and Niall Mitchell again on a little bit more ball, and possibly come out the field a little bit for a while, and exert his kind of influence in the game. The Downs will, as you were saying there, they'll expect to come back into this game now, and there's a big second half of the Downs. There's still all to play for, and it's still going to go down to the wire. But look, I'll stick with my prediction there from last week. And
Shane, we spoke about this in 2022. The Downs down at half time, failed this little gale force win, and they come out and defied all predictions in that second half. Is it going to have to be something similar here today? Maybe not as strong a wind, or maybe not as trying conditions, but they're probably going to have to go after that Lomans defence in the second half.
Yeah, they have to pick up the pace. All that they're mentioning, Jack Gagan there in the middle of the field, that's another switch that Lomans made. He tracked Luke Loughlin last week. They put David Whelan on Luke Loughlin, and it's obvious that Jack is having a bit of an influence. Kicked a nice score, but he's getting on plenty of ball. Back to your question, the Downs, yeah, of course it's going to have to be something similar to 2 years ago for them to get across the line and overturn a 3-point deficit, but it'll be about the work rate and the intensity. It's just not there, but it's not there from Lomans either. Lomans are kind of playing a little bit smoother than the Downs, a little bit more front foot, but the intensity, and there hasn't been a big belt in it. We spoke about last week being quite a physical, attritional game. There hasn't been that in it, a little bit of pulling and dragging off the ball. So the Downs need to come out here thundering into the third quarter, like Owen pointed out last week, where they did. That's where they got the most purchase in the game last week.
Yeah, you also have to look at the influence that Kelvin Riley has had on the game.
I agree.
He's the one. The reason that David Whelan's able to pick up Luke today is he was the one that was sweeping last week. Whereas now they have a really, really good footballer in Kelvin. He's very similar to David Whelan, but he's good on the ball. He uses the ball extremely well, and he's after having a big influence in that first half.
Well, look, we're looking forward to the second half here, all to play for still here in TEG Cusack Park. It's back up to Ray and Jimmy Dolan in commentary. We have an interloper here on it. Good on you, you're on the telly, well done. But it's back up to Jimmy and Ray in the commentary box, and we'll be back with you at the end of the game. Do stay with us on AirB TV, it's not over yet.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. a local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Back here in the commentary box, James. Down's first team to come out, so you know, a good sign. I'm sure Johnny Murray has to really put a bit of a spark on them. They haven't really set it up in the first half. No real running power as such like we saw last week. So they need to come out in the second half and don't let this game slip away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking off air there. Like, it's 1-5 to 5 points. I think the Downs really do need a goal, you know, to get right back into this game. And if they can get it in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half, it'll send them on their way. But you're right. You know, last week they had such running power through the middle for Johnny Lynham and Conor Coughlin and Joe Moran, Andrew Kilmartin, Ian Martin, all going at the same time. Kevin O'Sullivan as well. I think they need to tap into a bit of that for this game as well. You know, get the ball between the two 45s a little bit quicker and then get Luke on the ball, you know, as quick as they can. But I definitely think they need a spark, you know, early on in the second half, right?
Yeah, don't see any other changes. I see Kelvin Riley has gone across into the forward line. Ron O'Toole is going to he's gone into his normal position. Joy Moore is going to pick him up. Just looking, Niall Mitchell has gone to the middle of the field. Oisin Loughlin there has been picked up by Kelvin Riley. We wait for the band to make their way off. The referee is out there, the linesman jogging his way across the far side of the field. So by the time the band are clear, we'll be ready to get underway again. But still very, very much all to play for. The breeze is going to be a factor, and I think that's why I'm saying the Downs need to, you know, get that scoreboard going as early as they possibly can. As the referee throws the ball up and Johnny Lynham says, "I'll take it," while the rest of you are fighting. Carries it forward, pops it on now quickly as far as Ian Martin. Ian quickly as far as Philip back out now as far as Kieran Nolan. Kieran inside the 45, doesn't take the shot on. Instead he uses Kevin Sullivan. Kevin on to Joe Moore. Now Joe Moore is running with authority, gives it on now to Andrew Kilmartin, runs into a heavy tackle. Good strength from Kilmartin, and that's exactly what this game wanted and exactly what the Downs want.
Yeah, exactly what we were talking about. Can they string a few passes there just on the 45 as they're running at St. Lomans? You know, they did it in that case. It was Joe Moore that broke the line. He pops the ball to Andrew Kilmartin who sticks over bar. But more of that is needed from the Downs, I feel.
Yeah, Jason Daly with his first kick out of the second half with the breeze on his back, and it's a quality one over to the far side as Danny McCartan runs into space, pops it on now to Ron O'Toole. O'Toole steps inside the tackle from Oisin Murphy, gives it on quickly. Here now there's a chance for Danny McCartan, and Danny pops that one over the bar. We hadn't seen much from Danny in that opening half, but he certainly hit the ground running here after a minute. He gets the second point of the half there as Trevor Martin goes short with the kick out to Charlie Drum. Charlie carries it forward here. Again, I think there might have been a couple of rockets from a couple of different players over that half time from both sets of managers. But certainly Danny McCartan really on a lot more direct than we had seen him in the first half, and and the same for the Downs on the other end of the field.
Yeah, but an absolute wonder strike from Jason Daly from the goal, out over everybody as Danny McCartan is running towards the Downs goal. Unbelievable pass from the kick out.
Yeah, Oisin Murphy has possession here now, going across in the middle, gives it on to Oisin Loughlin. Oisin looks around, gives it on to his cousin Luke. Luke jinks away from Lomans player and has the ball out in the middle of the field and looks around and sees that Peter Murray is in a little bit of space here, pops it off to Peter, and Peter now back to Luke as well. Luke about to take on David Whelan. Whelan gets the better of this and knocks the ball out of his hand. Luke is able to recover and has the possession again. It's back now with Oisin Murphy. Go across now to Kieran Nolan. Nolan, first time over to the far side where there's a chance for Éanna Burke now to come forward in with the left foot, pops it in front of Andrew Kilmartin. Andrew heads towards that sideline and down along the line he goes, trying to step inside of Owen Hogan. Hogan does well, and then Kieran drops in. Now we have the high ball bombed in, but the two players tussling for the ball, and while they're looking and trying to get set underneath it, Jack Egan steps in, wins possession for Lomans, and the Lomans have it moved again, and John Hesson, first time kick in over the top, where it's a race between Fola and Charlie Drum, two big men. Great play from Charlie Drum there. I think an arm just in over the top there on Charlie Drum, probably got him in the face with it there. Referee, he's going to have a word with Fola.
Yeah, and John Hesson's vision there, he gets the ball, he sees it's one-on-one back there, he bangs it in, it's a fight. Charlie Drum comes out on top in fairness, but again, looking up the field, see if they can expose the Downs early or as quick as possible.
Yeah, referee is just bringing Foley in here. Has he a yellow card in his hand? I'm not too sure what he's going to do here, but certainly Foley is apologising to the Downs man, but referee Barry Pearce looks like he's in communication with someone over there, so we'll see what is he going to do. He's calling Foley over again. I can't understand if he's either going to book one of them. I can't see him booking the second one because Charlie Drum did everything right there. He won the possession. Don't think he gave a yellow card there because, we'll give Foley the benefit of the doubt. An accidental clash in there, and referee has us underway, and Charlie looks like he's fully recovered because he has the possession over on that far side. So we're back in by the Downs as far as Kieran Nolan. Kieran thought about coming left and then goes right, gives it to Johnny Lynham. Johnny hasn't really been involved as high up the pitch as the Downs would like him. He's been back deep, getting on a lot of balls, and now Oisin Murphy has the Murphy off to Joseph Bourne. Lomans tried to shut him down. It goes inside to Ian Burke. He ended to Joseph Moore again, and Kieran Nolan has waited over there in the centre for the ball, and he has a man over on the far side if he wants to use him. Instead he steps inside. Nolan back here now with Peter Murray from a standing position. The set up again now, a chance for Ian Martin. Ian heads into the Lomans half of the pitch. Oisin Loughlin is there now. He takes the pass off and gives it into Ian Burke. Ian with Joseph Bourne making himself available. Joe steps back in and gives it Ian Burke, who's there in support. Gives it on now to Kieran Nolan. Nolan back to Andrew Kilmartin. Andrew looks around, sells it dummy and gets away from Foley. He's looking up to see what's available inside, and then with the right foot he's fired it in. Mitchell is in under. Mitchell has grabbed it with it is a penalty. It is a penalty, and we'll have a look at the replay, but I think that absolutely it was a penalty. They've tried it a few times. Andrew Kilmartin this time hung it in lovely. It was in front of Mitchell. We know the power he has when he gets in front of his man. Got it, and I think half the Lomans defence seemed to be on his back there when he came down. You're looking at the replay there.
Yeah, in fairness, they have tried it, but look, that's the advantage of having a big man there on the edge of the square. All you need is for one of them to work. The ball comes in on that time. I don't know how he got his hands to it, in fairness. As you said, half the Lomans lads were jumping with him. He gets on the ball. The ref decides then that they're pulling out and dragging him to the ground. He gives him a penalty, but here's the spark that we were looking for. Can Luke hit the back of the net here and get the Downs right back into this game?
Yeah, a great chance for them now. And these two lads will know each other. I'm sure there's a bit of penalty shooting going on in training with the county as well, but Luke, he's going to take his time. He'll put his boot through the ball, I'm sure. I think if there was 4 goalkeepers in there, they wouldn't have saved that one. What a hit from Luke Loughlin. Luke is captain of the team, James, and I have to say he's leading by example. 3 points in the opening half. He's got them from play from a 45, and that time from the penalty spot, roofed it.
Oh, absolutely unbelievable penalty. And you're right, there's always penalty shootouts going on county level, but Luke is one of the best there is. He puts down, he can literally put it anywhere. You see there, left top corner. He hit the right top corner last week from play. It's the left top corner from a penalty spot there. But this is the spark that they need here. Now Canada get stuck into the Lomans. Let's see what happens all around the middle of the field.
Yeah, game on here now as the ball is broken down over there, and Niall Mitchell is trying to get it, but Sam McCartan has it as well. Sam under pressure does well to give it on to Jack Gagan, who pops it quickly onto, in fact that's Rory Sheehan back to O'Toole again as Lomans trying to respond to that goal for the Downs. O'Toole is on the 45. They know he's trying to get back on his left foot. He is forced to go back on his left, fires it over there. Sam reaches up with one hand, pulls it down, comes inside, uses Dempsey as a decoy, and then a beautiful ball inside to Rory Sheehan. Sheehan doesn't control it. It might still work out because the Downs on miss it. Foley's on the ground, puts it on the ground, free out.
It's after hotting up here already, which is great.
Sub coming on here, TJ Cox is going to be introduced. It could be Foley that makes his way off. We'll see though, because it is a free. Shane Dempsey is the man that's making his way off. TJ Cox for Shane Dempsey.
In fairness to Shane, we spoke about that last week. He didn't look comfortable at all last week in that first final. He looked a little bit more comfortable this week. They got their value out of him. He got the goal to put them in the league. But when you pull your hamstring or tear your hamstring or whatever happened to Shane Dempsey 2 weeks ago, it takes a long time to heal. So in fairness to Shane, he put himself there on the line. He got his goal. He'd be happy enough with his half an hour's work. In fairness to him.
Yeah, and he's an explosive player. So that the hamstring, it's such a delicate thing, and he needs it because that's where he gets his power from. But the Downs won't mind to see Shane going off. But again, another danger man for them. TJ Cox, he's well capable of contributing here for St. Lomans, and he's trying to get involved off in the play here as well, but the Downs moving aside, and they have a chance here now with Ian and Burke. Ian and charging forward. We're tied 1-6 apiece. 8 minutes into the second half as Charlie Drum steps inside the tackle there from Owen Hogan. Great strength there from the big full back. Gives it back now to Luke. Luke with 3 defenders around him, so he just decides to pop it off back to Peter Murray and takes the return pass. David Whelan. James Owen was telling me a story off camera. David Whelan, look, we're in getting a haircut at the weekend with Whelan with his head in an arm lock. They haven't left each other much more throughout this day as well, but Luke getting on top at the moment. One from play, but David Whelan is sticking to him everywhere he goes, but the Downs have gone down the far side. A little bit of a sloppy pass there, hits the ground and gone out over the sideline. It's going to be a line ball. There's a sub now coming in. Andrew Shaw is making his way in, and it's Peter Murray that's making. Yeah, Andrew Shaw, that's a switch I think that the Downs have been kind of making as well, James, throughout the championship as well.
Yeah, and Peter Murray last week, he took a very heavy lock there in the second half, so obviously that will he would struggle a little bit with that, but again he was marking Shane Dempsey there. Shane Dempsey, he got that ball from the rebound, stuck it in the back of the net. Other than that, didn't do a whole pile, so Peter Murray would be happy with his
and look at the Downs on the attack again. He takes the return pass, and it's that man Whelan trying to force him out, and Lucas hit it with the left foot. Is called. What a kick! Magnificent kick is the word for that. Luke Laughlin starting to pull the strings of the Downs. 1-7 to 1-6. No one getting overly excited down here on the bench because there's still a long way to go. We haven't 10 minutes into the second half, but again it's another quality kick out from Jason Daly. He finds Ronan O'Toole just back inside his own 65. O'Toole in the buck is trying to close him down, and then just nonchalantly pops a pass inside to Jack Kagan. Jack right footed, fires inside. TJ takes the ball on the turn. He's gone around his man, thought about taking it on, and then decides he'll just take the point instead. And an injury to one of the Downs players over there again, worryingly for them, but TJ Cox took that one at the turn, clipped it over the bar. Nice point there by the man just introduced.
Yeah, and TJ Cox, such a dangerous forward there. When he gets that ball, all you do be thinking of is goal, because that's all TJ Cox wants. When he turns there, can he score a goal? I'm sure he had a little look at it. Can he get it? The answer was no, so he clipped it over the bar. But a great response there from Lomans as well. Tit for tat here now in the first 10 minutes of the second half, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kieran Nolan has taken that short kick out there from Andrew Shaw, and he has given it over across now to Joe Moore. We wondered, would this Matt come anywhere even close to the quality game we had last week? But certainly, maybe not having the open football, but certainly it's very, very exciting. There's still nothing between these sides. 11 minutes into the second half, so we played 100 minutes now at this stage, James, and still nothing between two of them.
Yeah, it just shows how close the two teams are. We spoke about this, before the first game last week, how tight, both these teams are with all the quality players on display, and it's proven again. This game is not going to be one easy. It'll be absolutely earned whoever wins it. So we'll see who can get it over the next 20 minutes. See who can sneak the win and win themselves a county championship.
Yeah, don't forget we could be here for 2 10-minute periods of extra time as well, and we have to say that there is extra time today. We might have got the call wrong early doors last week, but this week definitely we are going to extra time if we end up on a draw after 60 minutes. But both these sides won't want to go through that. They'll want to get it done in regulation time, and the Downs have the possession here with Andrew Kilmartin. Nice dummies. He tries to shrug off TJ Cox, holds on to the ball, and they work it back here now for Kieran Nolan. Kieran has been excellent throughout the 2 games. Looks up and sees Johnny Lynham makes himself available. Lynham takes the ball and then moves it across towards that far side where they have it again, but just again nice and patient, hold that possession back with Johnny Lynham again, and back to Kieran Nolan, who gives it now to Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin comes on, drops the shoulder, goes by one man, draws a couple of players in and gives it on now to Oisin Loughlin, who pops it over now to Ian Burke, who gives it on to Joe Moore. Joe with a long fisted pass in, but that time David Whelan read the intended, and it's in fact it's Mitchell there that's on the ground. He just didn't come for the ball. It was one of those nasty balls dropping at your feet, and it's very hard to get to it.
Yeah, again, those kind of hand passes, they have to be on the money. When the hand pass is hitting the ground under your feet as a man is coming in to tackle you, it's an absolute killer to gather.
And never mind when you're about 6'4".
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit harder for Niall, in fairness, to go down and gather that. But again, Lomans had everyone behind the ball there in that phase of the play. The Downs Lomans being very patient there, but you know, they really do need to get that running game going again. You know, can they get one or two lads in a row, a couple of hand passes off the shoulder, just to unlock that defence of Lomans, and then get the shooter on the end, which is, I suppose, the most important part.
Yeah, Calvin Riley fires this ball down the line. This time the referee penalises Joe Moran for holding the ball and run the two. I don't think the referee is going to allow him to come forward with it. He's indicating to Joe Moran exactly what had happened, but he's bringing Ronan back, not carrying it forward. But Ronan takes it quickly, takes a return pass and has it now, and he faces down. The downs on is Kevin Sullivan, I think, or Charlie Drum, I think he may be over there trying to shut him down, but in fact, I think I might have been right. The first thing might be Kevin Sullivan, but anyway, Lomans have the possession here now with Kelvin Riley. Kevin, he looks up, he's scanning to see what's available, and then treads a lovely little ball in through to Danny McCart. Danny takes it and on the turn and fires it in. It's ambitious, but that time not on target. It's gone across the front of the post. I only make it 3 wides apiece, James, after 14 minutes of this game, of the second half.
Yeah, and we only had 4 altogether all last week, so you know the shooting from both teams is absolutely top class. Just a little bit unlucky there. You know, we mentioned the wind in the first half. It's a bit kind of swirling now at that, you know, at this stage of the game, but the Lomans still have to get used to it, I suppose.
Yeah, Kevin Regan is ready to come onto the field here for St. Lomans down below us, but the kick out has gone away and the Downs do pull it through the hands now, and Johnny Lyon combining with Andrew Kilmartin, 2 of their big strong runners. Ball fisted inside where Luke has it. All lovely hands here now. There's a chance here, and the point is taken there. I think that was Ian Martin with the point. 2 last week. Bit quiet in the open stages. James Nolan and I often wonder as a player, when you get an opportunity like that, is it better to go for the goal or are you happy to take the point?
Yeah, look, I don't know, and that's always going to be the question. You know, if he goes for the goal and he misses it, it's an absolute disaster. You know, when you fist over the point, you're always thinking, Jenny could have scored a goal, but I know I always look for the bottom corner in those situations anyway. If the bottom corner and I can't see it, I'll flick it over the bar.
Yeah, but look, the old saying goes, it'll take 2 to beat that one anyway. So being Kevin Regan has gone in, Rory Sheehan has made his way off. Jason Daly has the ball on the 20-metre line, and with the outside the right foot he hangs it out this side, but he's not going to find a blue jersey because Kevin Sullivan has reached high and calls the mark, takes it quickly here now, and he's gone on the run again, takes it, and the ball threaded inside, but again a little bit ambitious there from Kevin Sullivan with his left foot, because he was looking to try and get Mitchell onto the play, but Lomans set up for that one, they cut it off, and now Fowler has the possession, he's carrying it forward. Good tracking back there by Sullivan, forces Fowler to the ground, but Fowler as well to hold the possession, gives it into Sean Flanagan, who quickly moves it through the hands to Kevin Regan, hops off Oisin Loughlin's head, I think it was there, and then Kevin Regan, I think, just jumped in on top of the Downs player there. He's gone to ground. He's going to get back out. In fact, is it TJ Cox? I think he might have pushed a man into it there, but let's see. The referee has the card out. I think Ford is pleading he should have got a foul here earlier on, but the referee doesn't see it now. So let's see what actions he's going to take over here. I think it might be. No, just has a quick word, I think, with TJ Cox. And again, not a whole lot in that one anyway.
No, I don't think, Ray. Do you have anyone down for a yellow card? I don't think anyone was down for a yellow card the whole game. So, you know, nice clean game, you know, in fairness. Lads trying their best, you know, to get on top of their man, you know, get to get the position and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, nice clean game so far. Not a whole pile for the ref to do.
Yeah, and these teams all know each other very, very well. But everybody's ready to go again. Johnny Lynham takes a free shot back to his goalkeeper and takes the return passes. Trevor Martin has the cap on. He's out there half of between 20 and 45 metre line. Kieran Nolan, he's been involved in so many good things for the Downs in both of these games, as has Éanna Burke. Éanna fisted offer here to Charlie Drum. Charlie goes back inside. You see the effect of the sun there on Kieran Nolan as he looked up at that ball, but he grabs it safely. Just comes forward across the 65 metre line. TJ trying to shut him down. Kieran just goes back, gives it back to Johnny Lynham, and Johnny looks up, so from a standing position, just looking to see, can he entice somebody from St. Lomans to step forward and give them down a little bit of space inside to capitalise on it. They hold that position. They're going across their own 65 metre line. They've gone from right to left to back to the right again, and now they're back on the left where Luke has the ball again. Luke trying to get away from David Whelan again. Oh, taken down off the ball. He was a third man tackle there.
Fowler could be in trouble here. Oh, got a yellow, in fairness. Just after I said no yellow, he was. Luke passed off the ball there, and then Fowler just checked his run. You know, if it goes on the rule book, that's normally a black card, but the ref decides to give him a yellow card there.
Yeah, because it did block the run. I think Danny McCartan is having a word as well. There's the referee just happy enough, he's not going to take any more action. And the Gaffney is lined up down below. It looks like he has a hamstring problem as well. There wasn't the reason why he wasn't fit to start, but Downs have taken the free and they've worked it back in now, and Ushie Murphy does well, gives it on now to Edinburgh in with Johnny Lynham there as always. He's available, looks around him, and then Ushie Murphy takes it again. Run stop there as Ushie Murphy has to hold the ball, gives it inside now. There's a chance for Andrew Kilmartin to give it inside to Charlie Drum. Drum fires it on, then Luke just goes to ground at the wrong time there as far as the Downs are concerned. Right time as far as Lomans are concerned, because it gives Kevin Regan a chance to come forward. TJ Cox is off his shoulder, he takes the pass and then flicks it down inside where Ronan O'Toole is in space over on that far side. Joe Moran trying to shut him down, but he gives it on to Regan, who has continued to run. Kevin carrying it forward, he's getting very close to the end line, he's coming in on the end line, runs into a lot of heavy traffic there. The referee comes back. He's awarded the free in. I can see the frustration of the Downs players, because for a lot of those similar instances in this game, he's been given free outs for overcarrying. So a little bit of frustration there, but it is a chance for John Heston to tie us up again.
Yeah, but fast play that time from St. Lomans. They turn over the ball and then they move fast. Kick pass into Ronan O'Toole and then runners off the shoulder. That's the way to get at this Downs defence. And in fairness to Kevin Regan there, he came on, showed his energy that he has, ran at the Downs defence. It must have been a pull to jersey or something. The ref deems it a free, and a chance for John Heston to get it back on level terms.
Yeah, 1-7 to 1-6, or to 1-8, my mistake. I'm trying to look at it. Downs currently in the lead, but John, this one certainly well within his range, makes no mistake, clips it over the bar. Third point of the day for John Foley. I think as a result of that yellow card, Foley's making his way off, and Andy Gaffney, who was listed to start at wing back, has the hamstring strapped up, and he makes his way off the pitch. And as Gaffney makes his way on, Foley makes his way off. Trevor Martin has launched his kick out long and high. Out they go, up broken down very well. Johnny Lynham gives it on now. He's asking a lot of Andrew Kilmartin, but Kilmartin has it. 4 blue jerseys swarm in around him, and they turn the ball over again. And then Kilmartin, a little bit of frustration there, commits the foul. It's going to be a free out for St. Lomans that they've already taken. 20 minutes on the clock in the second half, 1-8 apiece, as Lomans have the possession here now with Oisin Hogan. Hogan goes back inside. Sam McCartan transfers it quickly on to Kevin Regan. Kevin carrying it forward, has a man over there very, very close to the side that uses him over there. His own Hogan going back inside as far as Ronan O'Toole. O'Toole with Downs players realising the danger he can create. They're trying to close him down, but Ronan is on it again now. Comes across the field, jinking, head up the whole time, looking to see who's on, who's available. Jack Gagan is available, pops it off to Jack, and Jack coming back here now to Oisin Hogan. Oisin doesn't do anything except give it back across in as far as TJ Cox. TJ now on to Calvin Riley. Thought about taking the shot on, but then just gives it back to TJ Cox, who opens the play up here to Jack Gagan. Jack kicked one in the open half. Thought about pulling the trigger again there, but instead gives it back to TJ Cox. He was about to be shut down. Lomans keeping that possession. It's very, very tight in there. TJ has it, and eventually Sean Flanagan tries to come into a little bit of space. The two number 12s coming together. Referee sees nothing wrong. Lomans have the possession. Jack Gagan has it. Back now as far as Calvin Riley again. Downs with Kieran Nolan sitting inside, but Calvin Riley is going to back himself. As soon as it left his boot, you can see the spin on it. It was going away from the post, out over the end line. Good defending again by the Downs, and set up well there.
Yeah, good defending by the Downs, but again, like last week we saw that the exact same thing happen where the Downs had everyone back, but the difference between last week this week was last week St. Lomans were getting John Heston on the ball out there, and he was sticking the ball over from 40, 45 metre line. Just the wrong man had it there at the end, when the ball slows down like that, they really need to get John Heston on that ball, see if he can clip the ball out of the bar.
Johnny Lynham reached high and down. He was outnumbered 3-1. He was a little bit unlucky. He got one hand on touching on the ground as he came to ground as a free for St. Lomans, and Kevin Regan has the ball over there on that far side. Throws the ball back inside where Jack Gagan moves it into the centre where Darragh Keefe now is on it. Sam McCartan comes towards him, takes the ball and tells Oisin Hogan to make the run down there. He goes into heavy traffic there with great strength from Sam. Gives it inside now, and a chance for Hogan. Didn't take on the shot, but instead Ronan O'Toole has it. O'Toole into a little bit of space. Can he get it on the right foot? He does indeed. Clips it in. Lovely score. It's his first one of the hour. Great score there from Ronan O'Toole. He likes to get it on the left. We know that's his favourite, but that time backed himself on the right, and there's a sub being introduced down below us here. Matthew Cunningham wearing the number 19. Looks like he's going to come in place of Philip Martin.
Yeah, and there Lomans there, the two county lads getting on the ball at the same time. Sam McCarran gets on the ball, makes a great run down the line here, throws lads out his way left and right, and he passes the ball off to Ron O'Toole, who does the job and sticks the ball over the bar.
Yeah, there's just a delay here. There's an injury here for Oisin Murphy, just getting a little bit of treatment. The referee just checking on his well-being. Looks like he could have a blood sub here now.
So as a result of Sam McCartan, I think that time, he bunched into the tackle, and Oisin Murphy came off worse there, and looks to seem to be blood from the nose there, but gone off to get treatment there.
Yeah, Dan O'Callaghan wearing the number 27 is the man that's come in as a blood sub, and he's straight on to the play again, takes the short kick out and does a sensible thing, goes back inside as far as Kieran Nolan. 1-9 to 1-8 in favour of Lomans. 23 and 45 seconds on the clock in the second half as Johnny Lynham sets up another attack here down this side of the pitch. Downs with the possession, nice and patient. They go back inside now. Line from his own 45 starts to come forward. Lomans playing with the aid of the breeze. The Downs against the breeze here as they try and engineer another opportunity. Johnny Lynham is trying to come forward. Looked like his run was being blocked as well, but the referee doesn't see it. And the Downs hold the possession. Eventually they do get a free over there on the far side. Kick it back. Content to hold the possessions back here with Andrew Shaw. Joe Moran is there as well. Gives it eventually to Moran. And Moran has Ian Burke here off the shore. And Ian calls for it. And he comes forward with the ball. Ball is given inside. Nice play here now. Oh, I think there was a tug of the arm there. It was an unorthodox type of a hand pass, but they get away with it. They'll be hoping to get Oisin Murphy back onto the pitch here. Seem to have him patched up here. And we'll see, this is going to be a free. Andrew Kilmartin not doing anything with it. He's just going to give the ball to Luke Loughlin. Now this will be a quality kick if he can get it over the bar. He's about 48 metres or thereabouts, not the side of Sura left-footed kicker. I think Paddy Dowden is saying down there that he's after robbing a few yards, but it doesn't matter now because he's taking a shot to Kieran Nolan. Nolan with Luke dictating to him what to do. Then he turns back, gives it to Luke. Luke inside, doesn't take the return pass from Andrew Kilmartin, but he continues to run and they work it inside. Charlie Drum, lovely side set from Charlie, pops it inside, the chance of the score, and it's fired over the bar. I think it's Ian Martin, the number 10. Again, lovely play. There was a lovely drop on the shoulder there, and it created the space there, and the ball worked nicely, and Charlie Drum was in there, but it was Ian Martin, and Ian got 2 last week, 2 to his name so far this week.
Yeah, and again, that link-up play that we were talking about, right? When they get a couple of lads on the ball, moving fast, cut out the hops and the soles, move the ball at pace. Can we get a ball forward? They got the hand pass over the top there to Charlie Drum, who passes it off, and then Ian Martin sticks it over the bar, back to level pegging again. Yeah.
Lomans have the kick out one and have it halfway down the field as well, as they have it over on that far side where Owen Hogan has given it in to Jack Gagan. Jack, he's been excellent throughout again. Quick ball into TJ. TJ stepped at just the wrong time, but the right time as far as Andrew Shaw is concerned. But he's hit a hopeful ball across. Oh, Joe Moore, the ball just hopped there. Ron O'Toole was on it, but great play from Joe Moore and great composure from Moore. Get a hand, he got it away. Pull down James Dolan. What do we give? A card or free? Nothing, just a free.
Yeah, you go forward, don't get any cards with that type of attack. But I think, in fairness to Joe Moore, he was unbelievable there. It looked when the ball came across, it was Ronan O'Toole's ball all ends up. But Joe Moore muscles his way in there and gets the hand on the ball and then comes out with it. So great defending there. Last ditch defending by Joe Moore.
Yeah, we had a 1-on-1, almost something similar to that here last week when Johnny Lynham tracked back. That time Joey kept his eye on the ball. Dangerous man there. You can't get put off by that. You just go for the ball, and that's exactly what Joe did. And great strength, got a hand on it, got it away, and then got great strength to get possession back and wins the free for his side. They've taken the free and they have it worked out into the middle where Luke, he has it again. He has Kieran Norman if he wants to use him. Instead he pops it on to Ian Burke. Burke on to Andrew Kilmartin, running at this Lomans defence, and now Luke has it with 3 defenders off him, and Luke has hit it in. Unbelievable score. Oh my God. It's unlikely it'll be the last point of the game, but if it is to win a county title, what a kick. There was 4 blue jerseys trying to shut him down there. He gets it away outside the post drawn it in with the left foot. John Heston kicked a couple like that last week, but that's fabulous under pressure. 27, almost 28 minutes, 110 to 1-9. Kick out is for Jason Daly. We can see the effect of the breeze. It's a huge kick out, broken down, and no better man than Ron O'Toole to read the break. Gives it inside. Sam is at it again. Sam, what's he going to do? Is he going to go for the goal? No, he's not. He's taking the pipe, ties it up. First one for Sam. James Nolan, these two games have had everything.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And you know, we looked at Luke Loughlin there, the last score. Couple of 1-2s, goes on the left boot and draws it in lovely. Lomans replies straight away, get the ball. Ron O'Toole wins the break, I think, gives it into Sam McCann, bearing down on goal, sticks it over the bar, back to level pegging again. It's had up again. We're almost at the 60 minutes up, and it's level pegging. So we'll see if anyone can sneak the win.
113 apiece last week it finished. 110 apiece at the moment, with a minute and a half of the 30. But Johnny Lynham is charging down the field here now. Quickly lays it off as far as Luke. Luke slips and then touches the ball on the ground. Oh, looking for Luke, and now it could be a crucial opportunity here because Lomans have the ball. They're going forward. Kevin Sullivan trying to track back. The ball from Heston is fired across to this side of the field. O'Toole is on it again. He has TJ allowing him. Thought about taking the shot, then pops it on to the centre half back. He goes to ground. No free given. Good play by the referee there, and the ball breaks kindly there as Andrew Shaw had a chance of getting with TJ Cox. He manages somehow. Oh, was a touch on the ground, but Ronan O'Toole has it. Goes into traffic. Goes to ground.
Some unbelievable defending going on in fairness. It's unbelievable on both sides.
You'd agreed with that decision, I think, all right, because there was no foul there. O'Toole went to ground, but the Downs have possession again. Can they be the ones to get the final chance? We're into the last half minute or so of this game. Charlie Drum has the possession. Charlie with the left foot gives it over to Johnny Lydon. Johnny, one hand on the ball, carries it forward, big man, huge athletic man, pops it inside now to Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin sees a little bit of space. Where did these boys get the energy? Oh my God, I don't know. Kelvin Riley put in a big hit. I don't see what the Downs man did wrong there. There's something coming in, James. I'll go back to you there.
Yeah, I can't see a free out there. Andrew Grant had the ball. He was going through a gap, and Kevin Riley just took him over it. I don't know how that's a free to Kevin Riley, in fairness, but the ref gives us, and that's the end of it. No, I'm looking at it here in the replay. That's a wrong call from Barry Bears, I think. Andrew Grant was wide open for it, and Kevin Riley just takes him over.
Yeah. Well, Shane Murphy going back off the blood sub that he was on. He's replaced now by Dan O'Connor. We hope that call is not the one that leads to a winner or a loser in this game, but certainly Andrew Kilmartin didn't look like he did anything wrong there, but the referee is the man in charge. Yeah. He awards the free for St. Lomans, and David Whelan has given it back to Jason Daly. 3 minutes of additional time. We're a half minute into them. 2.5 minutes to go. Is there going to be someone who's going to make a hero of themselves? David Whelan has possession. Lomans are back very deep inside their own half. They started from that position last week as well, remember, and they managed to come forward and get that equalising point. They have the player back inside now. They're out to past their own 45 as Whelan pops it on to Sam McCartan. Sam, that equalising score there for his side. He gives it back to Wheelo again. Wheelo stops, just holds it up. Minute gone. Kevin Regan pops it back now to Darragh O'Keefe. Lomans have to be so careful. Their handling has got to be so sure. Downs trying to pounce, trying to get one opportunity to get possession again. Kevin Regan back now to O'Keefe again. He looks around, decides he's going to carry it forward. No one there available for him. Kelvin Riley is there now, and he takes the ball from him. Riley turns on and a bit of a blind pass down the line here now. Now we'll see, is there a chance for the Downs? Is this the opportunity they need? They give it back into Andrew Shaw. They walk it through the hands, cross into the centre now. Joe Moore has it about. The Down supporters encouraging their side to come forward. They have it here now with Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin sees a little bit of space, goes into it, tripped, and this time he gets a free, but I think, yeah, he was tripped that time as he was trying to get away. This free is between 65 and 45. Johnny Lyon takes it quickly, gives it back to Joe Moore. Clock said we're 2 minutes of the 3 out gone. Are we going to be here for another 20 minutes? No one, I think, it would complain if we were, but let's see. Luke has the ball here. Carries it forward. Can they engineer one more opening? That's all it might take to be county champions for 2024. The 22 champions against the 23 champions. The ball is here now. Aina Burke takes it. Aina goes back Kieran Nolan has been exceptional again today. Gives it on here now to Johnny Lynham. He's also been a huge leader for his side. Coming forward. The Downs have the possession. They need Luke on it, and they have Luke on it. What's he going to do? He's going to try and get away from Jack Kagan. Just needs to keep that possession. Don't do anything silly with it. He takes the return pass from Endeburg, but it looks out well because he was blocked down, and then they come forward. Is Endeburg going to be the hero? He's fired it in. It's hanging. It's hanging. Jason Daly. Oh, the cornerback was almost a hero. The ball is clear out. It's gone out over the sideline. Luke is making his way over to it. Oh, a little bit more. I think there was. It's all over. It's all over. He's blowing the full-time whistle. We're here for 20 minutes. He was probably 2 yards short of being a hero. Yeah.
In fairness, it looked absolutely unbelievable. He gets on his left foot, he swings at it. It looks like his head over the bar. It just dropped, as you say, maybe a yard short. Jason Daly punches it away. Lomans cleared, and then the game is over. But we were at the stage where anything will do, you know. We will do anything to win this game. Endeburg swung a leg at it, knew the game was almost over, and as you say, 1 yard from being a hero. But look, we've another 20 minutes of football to play.
Yeah, I think nobody can argue with that. We did get the call wrong. We apologise again for that last week, but and you're delighted now. It's been a super 60 minutes. We're going to have 20 more. Downs and St. Lomans will make their way off the pitch. They're going to try and get the legs, loosened up again, not stiffen up, and be back out here for 20 minutes. We're going to take a break here and go to ads, but you don't worry, we'll be back in good time for all of the action here in TEG Cusack Park, because these sides cannot be separated. So at the end of 60 minutes, it's 1:10 apiece. We'll be back here shortly after the ad break. We'll be back on the pitch side, and we'll be back then on commentary for this extra time. So for now, we'll take an ad break.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Seventh Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay, Murtagh, Precast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, just when you thought it was all over, it's another draw, 120 plus minutes, and still cannot separate the Downs and St. Lomans Mullingar. It has been maybe not as entertaining, Alan Mangan, as the first day, but it's certainly been as exciting. And if you were in our position where you were up in the press box, we thought that last one had gone over the bar to win it.
Yeah, listen, it was very close. It was a massive effort from Endeburg. In fairness, there only was a couple of seconds left. He had to take a chance and have a pot, and I think the whole place thought it was over the bar Jason Daly. He was the only one that had it judged to perfection, but Paul went over for a line ball. I think Luke was trying to make sure that they got a chance to take line ball, but referee's done a great job, and to be fair to him, he's been very, very good. We even though the standard hasn't been as good as last week, the entertainment is every bit as good. Absolutely, and Shane was saying there at half time that the hits weren't going in, but they really went in there in the second half, and both teams gave it their all, and we're going to be treated to another 20 minutes of football, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, and I suppose, Owen, you're looking for someone to step up, to be the hero. You don't want anybody, I've always said that you don't want anybody to be the villain. There was nobody was, you know, the Downs went ahead, came back, went ahead, Lomans hit back, the Downs hit back, Lomans hit back. I particularly thought the Downs had a little bit more legs on them towards the end of the game than St. Lomans.
Yeah, and the Downs have been here before in a quarter final with ourselves at Lone, and they really pushed on in that second period of extra time, and were probably comprehensive winners that day. So they'll have that bit of experience from a couple of weeks ago as well. And like, it's amazing there, the one good ball they gave into Mitchell in the second half, they got the penalty over it, and they kind of went away from it then. And in a way, it looked like Lomans were kind of hanging on there at the end. They didn't have much outlet in their forward line to get ball up, and like, it just looks like the Downs were dominating that, you know, final 15 minutes and looked to press on to get a win. And in fairness to Lomans, kind of just hung on there, and they've took it down the stretch now, and look, it's all to play for now, and it's be interesting, as you say, who's going to be the hero.
Yeah, and Shane, look, Lomans just keep coming back, you know. It's been their modus operandi for the final, certainly, anyway, you know. Shows a bit of grit and determination, and who's going to win it?
Yeah, of course, Lomans don't go away. Like, it's not a case of keep coming back. They're always there. They've been there for 10 years. I think kudos to the Downs. You know, they didn't get the penalty. It was a smashing penalty. We have to mention it. Like, he roofed it in,
and it was a penalty. And it was a penalty.
County goalie teammate. And you know, we have to mention Jay Daly. Jay Daly's been excellent for Lomans today. His kickouts have been fantastic. He's had 2 poor kickouts that have been intercepted, and they've resulted in scores. But credit to the Downs. I think, you know, Lomans just seem like they're expecting this will happen for them.
Yeah.
And the Downs, in the last 12 or 15 minutes, was really saying, we're not going to just hand it to you. Yeah. And that little bit more energy kept them in it. You know, Kelvin Riley was it to kick the ball away there at the end of the game. Very uncharacteristic for when you were in possession going into injury time. Lomans looked like, okay, we've practiced this. We know the amount of plays we're going to take it up the field, and we know who we want to get a shot on. And then all of a sudden it's a disconnect, and the ball kicked down the wing to nobody, and almost for Raina Burke. And I suppose it's that little puff of wind that's here today that just held it up. And again, Jay Daly, when he's asked to do something, he made sure that was clear away from the box, unlike the goal that Lomans got in the first half, where Trevor Martin didn't do that. It's little things like that, but who's going to win it? Look, I'm not going to change. I still think Lomans have a sideline that can influence a little bit more. That's at the end of it.
And they haven't really gone to that sideline as such yet. On 3 substitutions, probably 3 that we would have expected, and certainly Fola was probably looking as if they took him on probably before he may have got another sanction, and maybe had hit the showers early. But we're still waiting for Peter Foy to come onto the pitch.
I was just going to say that the likes of Peter Foy there and the energy he brings in that kind of engine room there.
And I think they need that bit of energy. They looked a little bit leg weary towards the end of that game.
Yeah, and look, I know there's a bit of words there last weekend when he was taken off, so maybe that's kind of coming against him. But look, when the county finals coming down the stretch, it's all about getting the right lads on the pitch at the right time, and it could be the likes of his legs now in that extra time could make the difference, or could come down to who is the best penalty takers now after 20 minutes. So we could be looking forward to that.
I hope not. Alan, one player I want to mention, I think he's been exceptional for the Downs, particularly in the second half, is Andrew Kilmartin at centre half forward. I think he's got a mountain of possession. I think he was a little unfortunate not to get a free as well later on in the game, but he's directing a bit of traffic maybe when Luke is not directing that traffic.
Yeah, he's really good. He's prodding and probing all the time. He's punching the holes in the Lomans defence. Every time a gap opens up, he's gone through it. He's really, really good. He got a couple of points there in the second half as well. It's going to come down to probably fitness and attitude, and you'd have to say, in terms of St. Lomans Football Club, they're here 10 years. Few of them, 3 or 4 of them finals went to extra time. They're still there. They're never ever beaten, and in fairness, the Downs are going to be in there saying that we have a chance here now, but I'm telling you now, Lomans are not going to go away too easy. You go to the well 10 years in a row, everyone will be wondering, do they have it in them, or do they have that hunger to keep going? But they definitely do. You saw the way that Sam McCartan came up and scored the equalising point, but at the same time, you have to credit to the Downs. The Downs have really curbed the influence of Sam McCartan and John Estlin from last week. 2 boys were absolutely outstanding last week, and they've been given
They've been given pucks of it today. So you're going to stay with the Downs, Al?
Yeah.
Owen, one word.
We'll stick with Lomans now.
I just want a winner. I don't want penalties. I just want a winner. I don't mind. I want to see penalties.
We're back up to Ray in the commentary box. We're heading for extra time here in TEG Cusack Park for the second game between St. Lomans and the Downs. Do stay with us in the RVTV. You're certainly getting value for money with your county senior final. Up to Ray in the Crow's Nest.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Seventh Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay, Murtagh, Precast.
Welcome viewers back to the commentary position here where myself and James Doran have just about time to draw breath and take a toilet break and whatever else we need to get ready for this 2 periods of extra time. Both sides about to come back out. James, it's been one of those games, 113 apiece last week, 110 apiece at the moment. Could have gone either way. You know, talking to supporters outside, some down supporters not too happy with the call against Andrew Kilmar, didn't get a free. You know, Lomans supporters complaining that there was a chance down the other end. It's always the way in a draw. Like such tight, narrow margins, but they're back out ready for the second half again anyway.
I'm just looking there, the toss. Barry Pearce did a toss with just Luke there by his side. Hess has his hands out going, I wasn't even here for the toss. Luke won it and pointed towards the Parman's end. So already there's a bit of trouble. John Hesson can't believe it. He took the toss without John even being there. But anyway, both teams are going to get on for it now. Look.
John is pleading his case out there. If you're looking at it, you'll see him holding his hand out. His time looks like for the start of extra time. John is going into the full forward position. Charlie Drum, they'll be well acquainted with each other as well, and you know.
Yeah, I'm just looking, and that's like every single county training ever. The two boys go in on top of the square, they pull and drag over each other, but again, they get on with it all the time. Two really, really good footballers.
TJ Cox adding his tuppence worth into it as well there, but that's off the ball. But there's nothing much in it there. The umpires, I'm sure, will have that under control. But referee is Barry Pearce, having the word with Andy Kelly down there. Obviously taking a piece of paper back there, going back to the fourth official. Referee is Barry Pearce, St. Mary's Rochester Bridge Club. He's out there now and he's ready to get us underway. Niall Mitchell is out there in the centre. Up they go. Who breaks it down? Johnny Lynan broke it down, but Ron O'Toole swinging around, looped up, and great vision here now. And Calvin Riley, who started the second half in that space in the corner now. This time Heston gets the benefit of the free here, and again I think it was 6 of one, half a dozen the other, but it is going to be a free in the case for the referee, and this certainly in the open 30 seconds, so a chance for John to put the Lomans back into the lead again.
Yeah, it didn't look much like that, but you know, in fairness, I like to see John Heston close to goal where he's dangerous. Him and Charlie Jorgen got stuck into each other there now, but you know, John coming out to win the ball. Charlie looked like he was just tight enough, but Barry Pearce deems it a free. We'll see what John can do with this one.
Yeah, kicked a mark in the first half, again from a more difficult angle, maybe a bit closer to the end line, and this one is, he's outside the 20-metre line as he steps across here. Suits the right for the kicker, and John makes no mistake with it. Fires that one over the bar. Point number 4 for John in total. 2 frees, one from a mark, and that the first one of extra time. As Trevor Martin gets us underway again, goes short. Charlie Drum now takes the ball out across the 45, has support there as always from Kieran Nolan. Kieran Solan across into the centre. Nolan throws him down, so he says he'll go away from all the trouble. Then just pops it off then to Johnny Lynham, and Lynham gives it to Andrew Shaw, and Shaw moves it further over to that far side where there's a chance for Charlie to go forward. Nice ball, fisted in, took his time getting to Luke. Luke hops off a couple of defenders over there. This time he does get the free, goes to ground, gets the free, a free for the Downs over there on the far side of the field. It's inside the 45-metre line. Is Luke going to take it himself, or is Niall Mitchell going to come out and take it? No, Mitchell makes his way back in because Luke has taken the free and sent it backwards, and the build now from the right hand side as Kieran Nolan carries it forward. Joe Moore is making himself available as Kieran carries it inside, pops it out to Aina Burke. Aina so close to getting us into the lead here now, and then the ball is given inside where it's a beautiful long hand pass, and coming into heavy traffic there was the number 27 there, that's Dan O'Callaghan. But possession turned over there. Matthew Cunningham wearing the number 19. He gave a long and ambitious pass inside there, but it put his teammate in trouble there, and Lomans turned it over and they have it on the move again where Kevin Regan is carrying it forward. Down the far side of the field he goes. Kevin Sullivan steps in, stops him, forces him to go back, gives it back as far as TJ. TJ, smallest man in the field, probably against the biggest man in the field. Biggest man wins this tussle because the Downs have turned it over. Mitchell did very well there, and Joe Moore, Joe steps inside attack and needs a little bit of support, has to give the ball away. Somehow Sam McCartan comes away with it. Mistakes, and I suppose it's natural. James' bodies are so tired here.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what's happening here now. Right? Bodies are tired, brains are tired, and it's the first bit of scrappy play we've seen all game.
Yeah, and Calvin Riley has been allowed to come forward, and he won't need 2 invites. He doesn't exactly because he clips that one over the bar. That's his first point. Again, a little bit of a mistake there from the Downs players. Needed to pick up Kelvin Riley there. He's not a man you can leave come forward like that, and no pressure on him. He clips it over the bar.
Yeah, he's too good a footballer to be leaving it there. The whole Downs defence just opened up. Kevin Riley says thank you very much. He ran as far as he could and just clipped the ball over the bar. Nice and easy does it, but the Downs will be kicking themselves there now. The whole defence just fell asleep for just that split second.
Yeah, 2 between them now. 3.5 minutes into this opening period of extra time. As Charlie Drum has possession down the far side in this second half. I don't know what the breeze is like over there, but it is helping the Downs in this opening period. Kieran Nolan again. Great resilience from Kieran as he comes back across into the centre where Aina Burke has it. Joe Moore is available here. Oisin Loughlin is available if he wants to make the decoy run down the line, or Joe may still use him. Matthew Cunningham is there as well. He does give it to Loughlin. Loughlin thought about giving it back to Joe Moore, but he does come back to Cunningham. Cunningham with the left foot goes across into the centre where Aina Burke straightens the line, pops it off now to Johnny Lynham. Johnny Solan forward, Jinxon away from TJ Cox, drops the possession there as John Hesson tried to see could he pick up Eric Crum there, but Johnny gets it back, and now it's with Kevin Sullivan, and Kevin goes inside, pops a little ball off now to Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin takes on the Lomans defence there, and this time it took back on the jersey there. We see down below us here, we see Oisin Murphy making his way back on again. Is it Joe Moore? And I think he'll be making his way off. Joe's put in a huge effort.
Yeah, he'll be happy with the game, Joe. Putting over the 2 games, a fantastic battle there around up too. But Andrew Kilmartin having a great game, I think. Right, he's breaking the line every single time he's asked, giving the ball, he's barreling through, and that time he wins a free and an opportunity for Luke to get on the ball.
So coming in for St. Lomans as well, number 19, Peter Foy, has been introduced. Not sure who's making the way off. Is it Danny McCartan? I think it is making his way off.
And look, such a quality player to bring in. We spoke when we were surprised that he wasn't brought in sooner than this, really, but he's getting his chance now for pretty much all of extra time. But such a player of quality and experience to bring in for St. Lomans.
Yeah, Danny 1 point on the day, but we'll turn around now and look, as this is an important free for Luke Loughlin and the Downs. Does he get the proper connection? Because it was off the inside the post. I thought he didn't just get the connection he was hoping for on it. It was turning and turning, clipped the inside of the post, and luckily for St. Lomans didn't drop over. It came back out. There's a free here now for St. Lomans, and referee has said it's been taken from the wrong place, and Peter Foy was ready to go forward, but the ball is given back as far as Kelvin Riley. Maybe one that Luke will kick it off the ground there. Don't know, it's easy to say it now, but you know, he got the shot and I thought he would have got it over, but just didn't get the connection he was hoping for now. But Lomans have possession back over there again. Oh, high tackle there. Dan O'Callaghan, not a big job. See that foul anyway. Dan introduced wearing number 27. Yeah,
easiest yellow he'll ever get that one there, I think. Dan O'Callaghan, high tackle up around the neck.
Again, Lomans using all their experience. We're over halfway through this open period, James, and they're 2 points into the lead playing against the Breeze.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Luke could be raging there, yeah, but I think he was spotted. He just didn't get the connection on the strike as he left his boot.
Yeah, but Downs get the ball from towards Johnny Lynham. Johnny is bearing down on goal. Johnny takes a shot. Great save. Danger knock on it. His face in the net. Whoa, they were 2 points down with a 1 point ahead. I think it's Ian Martin that finished it.
Yeah.
It was Johnny Lynham that broke the lines. Credit Johnny, went for it, fired it. Jason Daly made a super save, but Martin had continued on with his run and he finishes it to the back of the net, and the kick out is not the best in the world now, and Kevin Sullivan has it. We're playing a little bit of soccer out here, but then Ian Boat takes into his hand, and Kevin Sullivan, I tell you, we just can't take your eyes off this game, James. It's to and fro all the way.
Yeah, and it's the first time Johnny Lane really got to go, you know, as he got through those lines. The ball was given to him. The hard dangerous ball in here.
Yeah, there's a high ball in. Mitchell does very well. Oh, and a little reverse pass. Martin again comes away from Peter Foy. Can he get the shot in? There's a lot of jerseys around him. He needs a little bit more support. Unfortunately for him, there was 4 men, but they weren't close enough to offer the support for him, and the chance is gone for the moment.
Yeah, anyway, what I was saying, you know, Johnny bearing in on goal. He's in a good goal scoring form with the county this year. He takes a shot. Jason Dilly with a great save. It just rebounds out to Ian Martin. He sticks it in the back of it. But another game changer there in this half.
Yeah, the 2 number 12s are colliding in there. But it's coming back. James, maybe you can explain that. How long does the referee have to play an advantage for it? It looked like when he gets the shot off, I thought that was it. You know, even though, but Barry Pearce had been certainly playing the advantage. Is there a hard and sat rule? Is it every referee?
Yeah, I haven't a clue. I think the official time is 4 seconds, but I mean, one ref's 4 seconds, could be another ref's 10 seconds. I haven't a clue, to be honest with you. You always have to, you know, do your homework on the referee as well and see how long he leaves it. But normally, when they get a shot off, that's the advantage over. But he comes back here to give the free.
Yeah, Ronan O'Toole has taken the free. He's popped it back in, and he's going to try and get it going from the ball in his hand here now as he jinks across into the centre where Kelvin Riley. This time I see Charlie Drum stepping forward, but Kelvin Riley, he's going to fancy this one again. They still haven't learned the second one of this extra time for Kelvin Riley, and so I would say to you that the breeze looks like it has died here now, that there's no advantage to anyone.
Yeah, exactly, and you know, we spoke about it in the first half. Kelvin Riley was coming forward and he was looking for those marks. In the start of the extra time, he's coming forward, but he's sticking the ball over the bar, and you said it, the Downs haven't learned there. They backed off. Kelvin Riley's such a quality footballer, you can't give him space and time. He's going to do damage to you, and he proves it there again for the second time.
Yeah, Oisin Hogan was making his way off, and Nathan Raleigh, he listed at number 6 last week, didn't start, but he's come in as a sub now for the last 10 minutes or so. We're almost at half time here in the first period of extra time. The Downs have the kick out. We're all tied 16, 113, 210. Johnny Lynham gets the ball under possession. Peter Foy is trying to shut him down. Lynham driving forward, pops it off here. Again, a little bit of a tired pass, but Ian Martin did very well to keep it in play. But Downs give away the possession inside there. Oisin Loughlin dispossessed there. Lomans have possession here now. Jack Gagan just settles it down and gives it across now where Sam McCartan has a chance, and he has Kevin Regan coming off the shoulder. Regan, he was only introduced as a sub, so maybe a little bit more energy. Runs into a couple of tackles, has to give the ball away, and again Downs turn it over. It's a good ball. It's into Luke. Luke popped it off to the man on the run, and it moved on again by Charlie Drum, and the shot coming in over from the far side. I think that's a... Is it Andrew Kilmartin? Well, let's get a look. We'll see when he turns around. Just looking at the boots. It might be Matthew Cunningham, but super kick there from Cunningham there. He backed himself. I heard him here after one of the games here that he was, chomping at the bit to get his place on that team, and half time here it is. The Downs now that go back into the lead, the narrowest margin. A great score there that time to put the Downs one up.
Absolutely brilliant score off the outside of the left boot. The Downs, just needed time. They're after playing with. I think you're right though. The wind seems to have dropped a good bit. It doesn't seem to be making that much of a difference now. But they stick the ball over the bar there and they get their 1 point lead coming into half time and extra time. But again, nothing to separate these two teams.
No, it's been some fabulous scores, like the goal in that period of extra time. Johnny Lynham, like you said, we seen him in Croke Park in the league final. He wanted to get two goals that night. He charged forward, backed himself. Height, it might have been the right nice height for Jason Daly. He had to make the save, but Ian Martin was following it in and he finished it to the back of the net. And it took the Downs like that. Missed a free from Luke just before that. It looked like 2 points, things not going against them. Got them into the lead. 2 great points from Kelvin Riley in this first period of extra time as well. So we've had much as everything. We see bodies down here that have to be sore. I hope this game finishes in the next 10 minutes and we don't have to go looking at penalties for a county final.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's absolutely nothing to separate these two teams. Absolutely putting their bodies on the line, everything on a hold, just for this game, this replay. But you said it right there. Kelvin Riley in that first half of extra time, bringing the ball forward, nice and patient, sticks 2 points over the bar. John Heston gets a nice free as well. The Downs in their hand, Matthew Cunningham sticks the ball over the bar to give them the point lead. But that major score there, that goal, just gave the Downs a spark what they needed. It looked like the game was getting away from them. Lomans were up ahead by 2 points. Johnny Lynham breaks the line, as you say, he gets the shot, and that's good forward play by Ian Martin. He's just following the play, see if he can get any scraps off the goal, and that's exactly what happened. The ball comes straight back out to him, and he sticks it in the back of the net. But 1 point here now as the Downs are getting back out onto the field.
Yeah, just looking at the 2 men that's out in the corner down here now are both physios. I see the Downs in with Joey Moran's flat out on the ground here. No, he's been replaced, but getting the hamstrings rubbed out. In the event that he is needed to come back on in this second period of extra time. I see Mark Scally then, the long servant St. Lomans physio. He's down there rubbing his men as well. It's so hard on the bodies. At the end of a long year for some of these lads, and here we are now. They all given their all in extra time in the county final.
Yeah, exactly. And I've seen there in the first half of extra time there's just a few tired passes. Like sometimes that happens as well, where an tired pass or a small bit of a silly mistake, and then that gives the other team the win or the crucial goal or the crucial point to win it for them. So everyone, bodies are tired, minds are tired, but look, they only have 10 more minutes to go. I'm sure they'll be able to see it out.
Yeah, Johnny Lane goes high, but then the Gaffney got a little touch on it, but Ian Buck is out there, Ian goes to the ground, has his head pushed into the ground. I don't know what he's supposed to do there, and the Gaffney is trying to get it. It does break out, and Sam somehow comes away with it, and he looks up, tries to play a little ball in over the top to Peter Foy. Foy goes to the ground, gets the free, and TJ Cox, I think Downs may be a little bit disappointed with that one. It looked like Peter Foy went to ground a little bit easy, but the referee gives a free, and John Heston is jogging out to take this one. Chance to tie it up. Linesman just signal where this one is to be taken from. John with the right foot. Breeze looking at the flags over there again. James just seems to be starting to flutter again, so whatever is in it will be behind John Heston, but I don't think the breeze will impact, because he'll certainly have no problem getting the distance from here. John going through his routine as he always does. Comes forward, looking at the post, and then looks at the ball, and then drops it in and fires it expertly over the bar. Great point again, the second one of extra time for John Heston.
Yeah, and that's what Lomans need to be doing. Get on the ball. Can they engineer it on free or something like that? Because they have the free taker now. Stick the ball over the bar. John Heston, time and time again, when he gets those frees, they're going to go over the bar. 95% of the time, probably over his whole career. So what a free taker, what a player he's been.
Yeah. Bushy Murphy is back in on the downside as well. He's involved that play as he gives it back to Kieran Nolan. Nolan Again, like a quarterback, directing his players where to go. He just holds that ball, takes his time. He has Charlie Drum here if he wants to use him. Then he just a little shorter ball on to Kevin Sullivan. Kevin doesn't come this side. Instead, he heads towards the terrace side. The two number 12s have been following each other pretty much all through this game. Kevin Sullivan and Sean Flanagan. But they move it back here to the downs as far as Kieran Nolan. Nolan again carries it into the Lomans half of the pitch and then looks up and sees that there is a spare man over on that far side. It is Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan just holding it up. They can't blame the players taking a little bit of a breather here. We're 2 minutes into the last 10 minutes of this county final.
Yeah, the pace gone out of the game, but look, it goes back to that. Neither team wants to be the one that makes the mistake to hand the other team the victory, and that's what's going on. The Lomans are all sitting back here. They don't want to press out. The Downs lads don't want to break forward in case they lose the ball and give the ball back to St. Lomans. So a little bit of cat and mouse like we were talking about in the first half, and there's a mistake already.
Yeah, but Luke does very well. He did just slid in there and knocked the ball away from Nathan Nally there. Nothing wrong with that. And crowd just had him in a little bit of a lull, and they come to life again as Kevin Sullivan driving forward, pops the ball over to the far side where Oisin Loughlin has possession. Loughlin comes back, gives it back to Kieran Nolan. Nolan quickly in as far as Luke Loughlin. Peter Foy tries to shut him down, trying to bring a little bit of energy to this Lomans defence. They have it now with the Downs do with Oisin Murphy. He gives it inside. Looked like there was a late hit on the down. Yeah, there is a late hit. Kelvin Riley, a nasty hit there on, is it Charlie Drum that's gone to ground there, I think.
Yeah, I think Kelvin Riley, in fairness, so he went to go and block the ball as that ball was being kicked out. Charlie Drum got the ball away, and then Kelvin collided with Charlie. I think it was an honest attempt to get on the ball, but he just mistimed it, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe in the lower regions possibly there as he was trying to go into the ball. We see Paddy Dowdle on your screens there. He's having a word maybe with the referee, but both these managers have thrown everything they have at this game, and still we can't be separated. But let's see, Niall Mitchell. It's a tricky one, certainly, but Mitchell with the right foot now, what's he going to do? The player's making runs, but he's not going to deflect forward. He's carrying it forward. It's a massive kick. That's the first score he's got today. He did get the penalty, let's not forget that, but he came out there, probably robbed a yard or two as everyone else does, but he gets it over the bar and the Downs back in the lead again.
Yeah, in fairness, that was a tricky free, but Niall Mitchell took it with a plum. In fairness, someone split the black post there, the black spot, so the Downs go 1 point ahead again.
Jason Daly has launched this one straight down the middle. Up they go. Who's on the breaking ball? Oisin Loughlin picks it up here, and he has Johnny Lynham. Lynham just low ball down the line as far as Andrew Kilmartin. Kilmartin sticks the toe under and lifts it up into the hand. He's so full of running still. Is that centre half forward, further down. He gives it inside. Johnny Lynham now. He's driving forward again. Gives a long fisted pass over here to Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan, he's going to back himself. He fires it with the right foot. They're drawing it in. Oh! That's the first wide in a long time for Downs. Kevin Sullivan, there was very, very little in it.
Yeah, he was unlucky, in fairness. He got that gap, he stepped inside it. Luke Loughlin went for the loop pass and dragged his man away with him. So Kevin Sullivan well within his rights to take a shot, just tail wide.
Yeah, he's going to be back in action again here because this ball is fired out in his direction. It goes over his head as when Andy Gaffney is picked up now by Ronan O'Toole. O'Toole steps back into a heavy tackle, goes to ground, but Ronan O'Toole, he's almost like a tennis ball. As soon as he hits the ground, he's back up again. Referee, I thought he blew the whistle and moved back into him, but Andy Gaffney has possession. The referee is allowing the play to go on, gives the ball now towards TJ Cox. TJ can't control it, goes out over the sideline again. Very understandable there because lads are getting tired there. You can see it. We can see Downs man down there stretching the hamstrings. Ken Physio coming in.
Yeah, well, I think in fairness, Barry Pearce confused everyone there. He blew the whistle twice. They blew the whistle, and as they took it, he blew the whistle again. So there was a little bit of a stop there, a little bit of a start. Nobody really knew what, and then they played on. So I think John Hester was on the way out to take that free. They'll feel aggrieved by that.
Yeah, the Downs have won the line ball and they have it worked across from this side of the field over towards the Sarah side and coming across to the centre here where Dan O'Callaghan has it. Dan just gives it on here to Oisin Murphy. Murphy with the possession, just holding that possession, no option to go back, so needs someone to step in, and Luke is the man that gives him that option. Luke, with 3 defenders coming close to him, he pops it off to Andrew Kilmartin. He's been outstanding throughout the 2 games. Jenkins carrying it forward, still carries it, and then lays it off to Oisin Murphy again. Kilmartin had continued his run, couldn't be found, but he gets it into Johnny Lynham. High tackle on Johnny, but he holds on to the ball, and then great work by Sam McCartan, gets a hand in, and the ball is fired in towards O'Toole. Trevor Martin needs to get back, because Owen O'Toole couldn't love him. He's going to do his best, but he gets it over the bar. No mistake, starting to creep in, understandable, no issue with that. 18 points apiece, 115 to St. Lomans, 2-12 for the Downs. 7 minutes gone in this second period of extra time. Ball has been worked out by the Downs over on the far side. Johnny Lynham was a little bit casual with that one, but I'm sure it's easy to say from up here. The level of oxygen going to the brain at this stage has to be, so hard for these guys. Oisin Murphy has it now. Oisin trying to get away from that, gives it inside to Kevin Sullivan. Sullivan pops it back here now to Andrew Shaw, and onto that centre half back. The playmaker Kieran Nolan goes over to Johnny Lynham again. Johnny has Oisin Loughlin in support if he wants to use him. Instead he goes back to Kieran Nolan. With Sean Flanagan trying to close him down, just draws a couple of players into him. He's pushed to the ground, but he gets up again, and Johnny Lynham injects a little bit of pace into it as he's made a run forward. But the Downs hold on to the possession here, and Luke, he's back inside of his own 65-metre line, soaring that ball forward. Has Oisin Murphy here if he wants to use him, has Kieran Nolan if he wants to use him, but instead he gives it to Andrew Shaw because he takes the return pass. Jack Gagan is trying to get a tackle on him. It looked like he did get a tackle, but Luke holds that possession for his side, drops it, and Sam McCartan was sniffing in, looking for a crumb there as well, but Downs keep this possession, but Lomans just forcing them to come back inside their own 65, and they have it now. Kieran Nolan has a little bit of room here now. 8 minutes, 15 seconds gone in this second period of extra time as Andrew Shaw pops it across in as far as Éanna Burke. Éanna jogging forward, and then lays it off to Oisin Loughlin. Loughlin gives it over to the far side. In fact, there's a dummy run there. He held on to the possession. It's back now with Johnny Lynham. Are we setting up for one more opportunity? They'll try and engineer, get a score on the end of it. And we'll look down here as Danny McCartan is standing on the side. I don't know, is he going to be introduced or is he just so anxious, because this is nail-biting stuff here. Nothing between them as we enter into the last minute or so of this extra time. Johnny Lynham has it. Gives it across here now to Andrew Shaw. Andrew with Oisin Murphy looping around. Murphy gets the possession and then fires it across for Oisin Loughlin. The two Oisins combine. Loughlin has it again, coming forward. Pops it on again. The Downs need to get a man on the possession. The right man has to be got in the right place for the right time. Can they work it forward here now? Éanna Burke gives it inside. They work it back out. Ball fitting inside. Lomans man dives on it, but he don't think they have the possession. Let's see where it is. It breaks to the Downs. They have it again. Johnny Lynham. Johnny pops a little one in over the top. What a tussle here. Darrell Keith goes to ground, but he just did enough. I don't know what additional time. Referee, has he played a word of free out? There's a Lomans player down at the far end of the field, all on his own. Peter Foy is coming forward. Can he get his head up and give it in long? No, instead he holds on. He gives it to Ron O'Toole. O'Toole wrapped up there by Niall Mitchell. Yellow card for Niall Mitchell. And I don't think you can blame him for that.
That's what you call a good yellow card, I think, from Niall Mitchell. John Heston was free as a bird in full forward there. Nobody marking him. The Downs realised that. Niall Mitchell realised that. He fouls the Rowan O'Toole. Get everyone back behind the ball and see if you can fight for another day. Will there be penalties, Ray?
I don't know, James. We're gone over the 10 minutes. I think Danny McCartan has been reintroduced. So you wonder, is that now let's see what's going on here. A little confusion because a lot of Lomans people on the side and down here. It looks like Conor Donoghue is going to be introduced, but the referee is not happy.
Yeah, it was Kevin Regan had gone off and Danny McCartan had gone in. I don't think the ref had spotted Kevin Regan had come off again, but I think you're right. I think they're getting their penalty takers on the pitch, right?
I think it might be, but let's see, is there one more chance? Now, is this the additional time? No, it's not. I think it's the stop. I think it's Jack Kagan that's gone off and Danny McCartan.
Not Kevin Regan, sorry.
Yeah, no, we're all getting tired, James. Don't worry about that. Kevin Regan has the ball here now, and Sam McCartan, we're going to have penalties. It's going to be heartbreak for one of these teams. I don't like to see it. Would we like to be back again? Yes, we would, but these are the rules. When, you know, the planning committee were criticised last week, you know, that we went to a replay, but this is part of the rules. It goes to, you know, it goes to extra time in a replay, and it goes to penalties if neither of these sides can be separated. 115 to 212.
Yeah, it's going to be cruel for one of these teams. You know, one of these teams has to lose. That's just the nature of the sport, the nature of what goes on. I know in the past it used to be play the final, then there's a replay. If it's a draw again, the extra time, and then there's another replay.
More money, Jim. More money.
More money. Those days seem to be gone. We have penalties now for the Downs and St. Lomans. I'm sure after last week, surely they'd have been practicing their penalties. You know, we were here for the intermediate game, multi-farm against Tubberclare, if you remember right. A fantastic game of football, and all the way went to penalties as well. So this is just the nature of the game now. When the game goes to, you know, a replay and then extra time, you're going to have penalties. So I'm sure they would have done their homework about it, right? But we'll see now. Chance to be a hero or a villain, I'm afraid.
Exactly. A lot of pressure now on both keepers as well as the 5 takers. But look, we're going to take an ad break. We're going to keep going down the sideline for a little bit of analysis. But don't worry, you won't miss one of the kicks. We'll be back in plenty of good time. But for now, we'll take an ad break.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
7th Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay Murtagh Precast.
Ladies and gentlemen, 140 plus minutes and we're still not decided. And Shane Donoghue, this is what we really, you and I certainly said it at the start, it's what we really didn't want for a county final, but such is the way it is, that's the way it is, and somebody's got to win the game.
Yeah, they're the rules, Paul. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and to be honest, I don't know, is it fair? You know, the amateur guys, they're after putting in 2 massive days for us, but a huge year together, and to know that it's going to come down to this, I'm just not a big fan of it, but it is what it is, and we're going to see it. We've seen it at inter-county level a few times with Armagh, who eventually went on and won in Ireland, but the only time we were beaten prior to that for a couple of years was a penalty shootout. So, you know, both teams would have practiced, but practice in training is kind of, it's a bit jovial, it's a bit of a laugh. Nothing will have prepared them for in front of what we probably about 5,000 people here today, knowing that their kick can decide where the Flanagan Cup goes for the winter. So it's tough going, but we'll watch it. We'll try and enjoy it.
I know we forget that we're after being treated to 80 minutes today, 60 minutes to the last day. Full blown, all out, total commitment from both sides, and both teams have to be commended for that. It's been exciting today as well, particularly that extra time. You know, play fluctuated from end to end.
Yeah, look, huge value for money there in terms of the entertainment there we've had the last 2 weekends, and you know, the Downs came and stuck the goal there. Kelvin Riley probably just a poor turnover there on the free kick on the way out, and in fairness to him, he came back and kicked 2 points himself there to get Lomans back into it. So
I just told me here on, we have to go back up to commentary. The penalties are just about to be taken. It's going to happen, I think, at the Dunstore's end, and it'll be interesting to see. We'll be back with you again at the final whistle.
We're back here now on commentary because we're just looking down at the left-hand side of the pitch, James. It looks like that's where the penalties are going to be. We see all the kids gathering behind the goals down there. Now, I'm trying to figure out who are the penalty takers. Ronald Toole is out there. I think both McCartans are there, so that means to me that Danny was brought home for that specific reason.
Hess and TJ then. John Heslin, Sam McCartan, Danny McCartan, TJ
Ronald
Fox.
and Ron O'Toole. That seems to be. Now, let's look at the far side. Luke is there. Johnny Lynham is there. Charlie Drum is there. Now, it's going to be the Downs. It looks like they're going to go first.
Going first, yeah. Kevin O'Sullivan's over there as well.
Can you see who the Downs players are? Can you see them?
I have Luke, Charlie, Johnny, Kevin O'Sullivan as well. I can't see the last time. Can't see the last. Is it Andrew Kilmartin?
I think it is with the red boots. I think it is. Now, all we need is a ball. And we have that as well. Niall Mitchell is down below us. He's not. And you see, the regulation, the rule with this, remember for our viewers, is that 5 penalty takers, they remain the penalty takers. If we're level after the end of 5,
here goes Luke.
Here we go for Luke. First penalty. Let's see. Luke. Oh! It's saved from the. Luke that time did a bit of a stutter stammer run up to it. You know, keeper read it well, got down low, so missed for the Downs.
Yeah, unlucky Luke, in fairness. He pinged one into the top corner in regulation play, and it's always that one when you get their second chance at it. To go the same side, they do switch. He switched. Jason Dilly read it and saved it. Great start for St. Lomans in the penalty show.
Yeah, Sam McCartan, first one for St. Lomans. Is it going to be advantage St. Lomans? Let's just see. Trevor Martin, he's the keeper. We have both county panel keepers here. Sam comes forward. Sam, he goes low into the bottom corner. The keeper was after it, but couldn't get to it. Now, who's coming forward? Charlie Drum, I think it is. It's a crucial kick now because they can't afford to go 2 down. We see players down below us here. There is absolutely no fault to any player here that puts his hand up and doesn't have to, connect to it. There's huge pressure here with so much on the line.
Yeah,
here.
it's unbelievable pressure. And I think this is the first county final that's gone to a penalty shootout. So I tell you something, I wouldn't be down there. That's for sure.
Yeah, we seen the Leitrim final went to penalties last week. No, Charlie comes forward. Oh, Charlie. 2 saves for the county goalkeeper. Yellow card for
one of the goalies, was it?
I think so. I think it was Trevor Martin the guy. I'm not sure, but now we're on the tool with this one. You know, that puts pressure on. You know, if Ron O'Toole can fire this into the back of the net, 2-0 with 3 to go. You know, and Ronan.
Crucial penalty here now.
Yeah, this is a crucial kick. Can Trevor Martin get his side back into it? No is the answer because Ron O'Toole to the back of the net. Great score, great confidence, low into the bottom corner. Downsman number 3, Kevin Sullivan, is coming forward. This becomes crucial because if this is missed and Lomans score their next one, we're finished.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jason Daly showing all his work there. He's been county goalkeeper for the last number of years, and he's after pulling out of the bag there. The last 2 penalties, he saves 2. If he can save this one, he'll be an absolute hero altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, Kevin Sullivan with all the pressure on him now as he stands back from this one, comes forward, right foot, it's over the bar, so it's a miss.
3 misses from the Downs. John Heslin to come and kick the winner.
Come with the man. You see the Downs people, players and management down below us here. There's nothing they can do. But, in fairness, Kevin Sullivan, he put his boot through it. But unfortunately, he just rose too high. But this could be it. This could be the final kick of the 2024 championship for senior football for the Shay Murtagh sponsored championship. John Hesson has the chance. He's the team captain. A chance to win this for his side. And he does exactly that. It's all over. Lomans are champions for 2024. It's heartbreak for the Downs. I see lads commiserating down here because, you know, both sides, both sets of players know it's a horrible way to lose a county final.
Yeah, look, and you said it, you know, nobody deserves to lose that county final. You know, a draw after the original game, a draw after the replay, a draw after extra time, and you go to penalty shootouts. Enormous pressure to be putting on, you know, those 10 players, you know, and, you know, the Downs lads are absolutely unlucky. My heart goes out to them. I see them down there, they're absolutely distraught. The Lomans lads are elated, but unfortunately that's the crew, that's how crew sport can be.
Yeah, sport is winners and losers, there has to be, and unfortunately for the Downs, they couldn't convert either of their 3 penalties. Lomans, to their credit, they finished the 3 of them back. You know, it's great celebrations down here, a big crowd on the pitch as well, so that's what it means to St. Lomans. You know, there was a little bit of revenge coming into this game on their minds, as far as, you know, it's from 2 years ago, and, you know, they avenged it by the barest, narrowest of margins.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were speaking about their revenge. I remember right before the first final, it looked like they were going to, you know, the first game I'm thinking of last week, they stormed out of the blocks, and the same in the second half, stormed out of the blocks. Again in this final, in the replay, they get a goal early on, and look, it's been tit for tat the last 2 games, all the way through extra time, and then look, it's an absolute cruel way to lose for the Downs, but an absolutely brilliant win, I'm sure, for St. Lomans, and delighted to get out of here with the win and another county title in the bag.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to take a break for ads. For myself and James, for now, I think our work might be done. We're on the overtime here tonight, but I want to thank you for joining us, and I wish you the best of luck, as you'll be out here in front of us here tomorrow in your quest to gain an intermediate title. But from myself, Ray Gavin, on commentary, I'm going to say goodbye. The lads will be back after the ad break down on pitch side for some more analysis. Don't know what more we can say about this game because it has everything. But for now, we'll say goodbye and we'll go to ad breaks.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
7th Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay, Murtagh, Precast.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, eventually it's over, and St. Lomans Mullingar have won in a penalty shootout. First county final to be decided by a penalty shootout, and Shane Donoghue, you and I said it before, we didn't want to see it go to that, but that is the way it is. Them's the rules, as the fella says, and Lomans scored the penalties, the Downs penalties in truth were poor.
They were, yeah, unfortunately for the Downs were poor. We probably saw the least amount of penalties we could statistically. Took 3 to win it and 3 missed.
I don't know about statistics and everything like that. Well done.
Jay Daly pulled off the saves. The penalties were poor. Penalties weren't struck with any conviction, and I think, you know, the lads themselves will be very disappointed in those moments, but they should be very, very proud. There's no consolation now for the spectacle of football they put on for 2 weeks, the season that they've had, the bounce back season, I'd say, after the year before, and they're a real quality side, the Downs, and I'm sure when it settles over the week that, and maybe a little bit longer than that, but kudos to Lomans, they've done it again, they'll go on and represent us in Leinster now, and that'll stand to them. That's a big tester after getting over the last 2 weekends.
And look, champions become champions for a reason, you know. It's their 10th final. They dogged it out because, let's be honest, in extra time we thought there was only going to probably be one winner, and that was in the black and amber. Maybe they didn't take their opportunities when they had them. I know there'll be no consolation of them, but they've given us 140 minutes of huge entertainment here in TEG Cusack Park.
Yeah, I suppose just it looked like they were just trying to take a little bit of time off the clock there, just in the last minute of extra time, and they probably just kept it a little bit too long, and the ball was turned over eventually. And like in the penalty shootout, is probably the most comprehensive we've seen in terms of the victory margin there. In fairness to St. Lomans, where the penalty takers there and Sam and Ron O'Toole, and if you had any man in the county to take a winning penalty in the county final, to be John Heston, you would have taken that before the shootout started. So in fairness to Lomans, as you said, look, they've been here 10 years in a row is a serious achievement, and you know they never panicked coming down the stretch. Even as I said in the first day out, 30 seconds ago, you know, they turned around and they get their reward now and lift the Flanagan Cup again.
And Alan, speaking of the Downs, you know, we have to give them great credit. They have been, you know, huge ambassadors for their club, as Shane said, on a kind of a comeback season as well. It'll be no consolation to them tonight, I suppose, or in the weeks ahead, but having said that, they've taken part in a wonderful county final, and as well as that, they're probably going to be spending the winter thinking on what might have been. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, let's call it a spade a spade. It's a terrible way to lose a county final. It's not, and listen, Lomans will say it's a great way of winning one, but if you're from the Downs, and the three lads that missed their penalties, like Luke and Charlie and Kevin, three of them were outstanding today. Absolutely outstanding today, and it's just very unfortunate it came down. But listen, someone has to put their hand up to take one, and I would praise any fella that puts his hand up to want to take one in a situation like that. But listen, it's one of those situations where Lomans, probably their experience got them through, especially in the penalty shootout, and it's a sad way for us to end the year on a championship basis, because the two county finals have been by far and away the best two games in the championship as far as I can see, and we've seen a lot of games here, and I just think them two games are outstanding, and it's tough on the Downs, but there has to be a winner, and Lomans experience, and I said it at half time earlier on in extra time, or half time at the end of the game, that they're a credit to be still plugging away 10 years in a row in county final. They've obviously lost a couple, won most of them, but they're a credit to the way they've kept going.
Yeah, I know, and you faced both of them when at Lomans this year. You know both of them fairly, very well, and it's a hard pill to take. You've been there in extra time at the Downs this year. You know, it's a bitter pill to swallow. You'll have 7-8 months to ruminate on that, I suppose, as well. But they've given us huge entertainment. Let's be honest about this. Both clubs deserve great credit, and that's why I agree with Shane insofar as that. You know, I know rules is rules, but a penalty shootout is no way to decide the county final.
Yeah, look, I'm sure the Downs will go dust themselves down after winter now, and they'll realise they're not too far away, and they've been here over the last couple of years in semi-finals, and probably had a down year last year, and are supposed to come back this year like they did, and Johnny Murray's rounded up the troops there, and no better man out in the Downs there to get them all to rowing together, and they'll take huge confidence that going into next year.
We're going to go over to the presentation now here. Frank Meskel is going to present the Flanagan Cup to St. Lomans captain.
Over 2 days, so much to two brilliant occasions. What a cruel ending we had to our game. Volunteers, brilliant players, decided on spot kicks. Very, very cruel to lose, but to win, it's a joyous occasion. Very, very difficult to separate two fine teams. Probably a little bit of luck in the end separated them. So, would everybody here put your hands together for the two teams, the Downs and St. Lomans? Thank you very much for that. The Dons, when you reflect on this year, you've had a great year. You won the county final 2 years ago. You went into a little bit of doldrum last year, but you're back this year. You had a great time to get over the disappointment, but you will reflect back on a great year and be very, very proud of yourselves. St. Lomans, you have another title. The gold on yours. You had to dig it out, but that's your gate. So congratulations, St. Lomans. I have Andy Murtagh here beside me. He's double jobbing today. He's here for his sponsor, Shay Precast, but he's also here to present the Man of the Match award, which commemorates his brother Claire. And that award today goes to a fine young man. He had a great display. Luke Loughlin is our Man of the Match. It's coming out of the time where we hand over the Paddy Flanagan Cup. Kind of unique cup presented when he was a player. And I'm sure he will be very, very delighted that one John Heslam is going to accept it again this year. I think my first thank you I'd like to give is to the Lomans management. I've been up here a few times and I probably haven't thanked the management enough. So the Paddy, Billy, Alan, the Divines, Alan, everyone that's involved, thank you very much. Vicky, everyone that's been involved for us this year, thank you very much. I think before I thank the short-term players, I'd like to thank the lads that opened the doors for this club to be winning championships. We were here in 2009 and we got beat out the door. But when getting to that point in 2009 gave the club the confidence that we were able to compete, that we were able to win. In 2013 we got over the line and won our first championship for the first time in 50 years. And since then, we've been back in finals and they have 8 championships since 2013. I think the whole club deserves a round of applause for that. What's really remarkable, and this is special for everyone wearing blue in the audience or the crowd, is that they doubted us. They said we weren't good enough. Imagine doubting a team that's been to the county final 10 years in a row. I'd like to thank everyone for everything they've done to get us there. There's 2 other lads that I'd like to thank on the team today who have been there since 2009, 2013.
I suppose it depends on the context you take it in, Paul. Alan alluded to it. How do teams have the hunger? Sometimes you find a reason and you make it up in your head. I don't know what John was indicating at there, if he was indicating on anything. It just felt as important to him as any of the other finals. So I wouldn't read too much into some of those county speeches. Again, he's been up there quite a few times. As he said, he's 8 medals now. That's a fantastic haul. It's right up there with some of the best the county has ever had. So I wouldn't read too much into that. It's probably hard to come up with something different to say every year when you're up there all the time.
When you're up there all the time. And of course, we forget, Alan, as well, it's back-to-back titles for St. Lomans here today. You know, they've defended their county title. They defended in good style, in fairness to them. And it's not an easy thing, you know yourself, from management and from playing yourself, to come back year in, year out, to try and regain that hunger, to create, you know, an atmosphere where you can win a game. You know, it's not easy.
No, absolutely not. And it's hard to go to the well year in, year out and do what they're doing. They're a credit to their club, they're a credit to their families, they're a great bunch of lads, to be fair, and you'd meet them in town, they're always friendly and they're very humble in their victories as well, and epitomised by the start of John's speech there, where he gave a massive amount of credit to the Downs for what happened this year in the 2 county finals and how good they were. It was really, really good. You'd have to say that they're a massive club, and it's going to be very hard to take them down because they're dominating lots of underage teams down through the ranks. They're dominating there as well, so they're not just going to be here for a little while, they're going to be here for a long time still to come.
Yeah, but having said that, Owen, you're as manager at Clone this year, there are teams on the up, you know, your own club as well, at Clone are on the up. Mullingar Shamrock's making a little bit of a recovery as well, you know, other teams coming into the fray now as well, and the St. Lomans are still there, they're still the champions, you know, you have to give them huge credit for that.
Absolutely, and you know, I suppose as the club's looking to compete with Lomans and to take them down, like it's just another nail in the coffin there for a bit of belief that you know they're beatable in a county final, because to be here 10 years in a row, to be, I think John said there, they've 8-1 in that period of time is phenomenal. And it's interesting that I just saw in the programme last week that they haven't won a minor championship since 2011. So you know, it just shows that like it's not all about winning underage. They've 2 teams at every level. They're competing in every grade at underage. They're bringing through a lot of players. They're competing well at under 20 level in the junior championship, and you know, they're bringing through a couple of players every year to compete in training, and their training matches, I suppose, must be a huge standard, and that feeds into that competition for places. And you know, look at they'll celebrate tonight, and they'll have a good few days on you know, celebrating this victory. And I suppose that's what kind of feeds into you when you're training over the winter, is they know in the back of their mind what it feels like to win these championship finals. And you know, they'll be back again next year, no doubt about it, to go for probably a 3 in a row again.
Yeah, and look at Shay, success breeds success. We've seen that over the years. We've seen the great Shamrocks team, we've seen the great Gary Castle team, the great Downs team in the early 70s, you know. Success breeds success. You get generational teams like that. St. Lomans have proved that they're a little bit more than that, you know, to go to the well every time and to get back here and to win a county title. You know, it's a tremendous achievement for them.
Oh, yeah, it can't be underestimated. And yeah, sure, some of those guys have 7 and 8 of them, but there's other members of that panel. This is their first year involved in it, and that's what they've been brilliant at. You know, I remember some of those great teams, not the ones back in the early 70s, Paul, thanks very much.
Yeah, well, some of us have a longer memory.
Well, we say the great Gary Castle team, who are competing tomorrow in an intermediate final.
Yeah.
What they weren't able to do, what the Downs or what actually both the Downs and Lomans are doing now, is guarantee that there's some sort of conveyor belt over the years, that the underage structure is really, really solid. And I think that's credit to Lomans, that's what they're doing. Yeah, phenomenal. Look, a county senior medal won. Some lads will take one, but you look at this Downs team and look at it overall over the last 3 years. They've competed twice against each other in the final. It's 1-1. It's actually 1.5 all if you count the draw last week. Yeah. They're very, very close, and these things are tipped on small things. Yeah, Lomans are doing everything right, but the Downs equally are. It's just today they didn't come out on the right side of it.
Yeah, Alan, I suppose Johnny Murray regrets. Personally, I don't think he should. His players gave everything that they possibly could. Probably an affirmation of what Johnny stands for, you know. And you know, he might sit down over the winter and go, you know, we're nearly there. We're not far off, like.
Well, listen, they're right there. They just proved today that they're as good a team as Lomans. Just Lomans got across the line in a penalty shootout, which is very close. You'd have to give massive credit to Johnny Murray and his backroom team. Last year they were relegated into the B section of the championship. Coming in this year, only 2 teams coming out, and they were under pressure in the last game. They had to beat Killucan in the last game to make sure they went through, and they did that, and they got the whole way to county final and were within inches of winning the championship. Yeah. Like, if you look at Aina Burke's last chance there, in normal time, just dropped short. If that was a foot higher, it was over the bar, and this would be a totally different kettle of fish. But listen, as I said, Lomans are a phenomenal club. There's a conveyor belt of players. If you look at the team that were playing in the county final even 5 years ago, there was no to do Hogan's, Dan McCartan, like they're bringing in new players, Andy Gaffney. These lads weren't playing in them games 2 years ago, and they're credit where credit's due. I think John was just saying, you have John Heslin and you have Kelvin Riley and you have David Whelan. They played in the county final in 2009, and I think they played again in 11 and then 10 in a row. So they've played in 12 county finals, the 3 of them, which is a massive credit to them 3 players. And you need them types of players. Every club needs it. Like, John's away playing with the county all the time, and rightly so, because he's been the best player in Westmeath over the last long number of years, and the most consistent anyway in terms of club football especially. And he's just a credit to the club. But at the same time, you have the likes of David Whelan and Kelvin Riley, who are plugging away with their clubs year in, year out.
Yeah, Kelvin Riley, a bit of an unsung hero today. I thought he had a really good game now.
Listen, he made one mistake. He made one mistake in the whole game, and it ended up costing him a goal. But as Owen said in his analysis earlier on, he scored 2 points from play shortly after that to bring them back into the game again. And he's a phenomenal footballer, as is David Whelan, and as we all know how good John Heston is. He's a phenomenal player and has been for a long number of years.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's us for today. So St. Lomans are senior county champions, Shay Murtagh champions at senior level for 2024. My thanks to the boys, to Shane, to Owen Jordan, to Alan, to Ray on commentary, and Jimmy Dolan. Do stay with us though on AirB TV. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the Junior Football Championship, the Junior 1 Football Championship between Castletown Finale, Cool Whitehall and St. Joseph's, and then after that we have a very interesting intermediate championship between Milltown and Gary Castle. So it's a full weekend of AirB TV, and also don't forget, next weekend of course we have the hurling finals here next Saturday and Sunday. But for the moment, today is blue, today belongs to St. Lomans. 10 years in a row, and they've done back-to-back finals. Congard Agus Nave Lomans. Let's say Slán Agus Panic for us here on AirB TV. We'll see you again tomorrow.
TEG, proud sponsors of TEG Cusack Park, serving aviation, biopharmaceuticals and medical industries across the globe. TEG has been to the fore in the fight against COVID-19 with our customers and partners. A local business employing local people. Visit teg.com/careers to learn more. Wishing all our GAA patrons a safe passage through the championship.
Seventh Coaches, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA Hurling Championships. Clark's Bar, wishing all teams the very best today. MJ Stone Building and Developments, proud sponsor of Westmeath GAA.
Cusack Park pitch is 145 metres long. Imagine 3 of these bridge beams would make up the length of the pitch. Now transport 30 of them from Harney to Kildare. A challenge overcome by a great team with the support of a great community. My name is Pat Barrett, Project Manager, Shay Murtagh Precast.